Hello guys, welcome to our channel, and in this video we will see what if Naruto became the emperor of the freezing universe. A Naruto freezing crossover takes place in the Naruto universe during the time skip, featuring Uzumaki Naruto and Chiffon Fairchild. Now let's begin the story. Iron Country, the village of Shannon. Naruto was once again left to his own devices. Clad in heavy winter gear, he was staying in the Iron Country mining village of Shannon, which was known for its incredibly deep and ancient mines where various legendary ores had been dug up. Posing as a traveler and keeping his ninja identity and equipment concealed, he simply wandered about the town with his ear to the wall awaiting his master Jiraiya's return. Ninjas were forbidden in Iron Country, and Jiraiya didn't want to risk his precious apprentice in this infiltration, so he left Naruto in Shannon because though the town was very inaccessible by roads, it was also close to the Iron Country border, which would allow Naruto an easy escape if it became necessary. The deadly serious look in Jiraiya's eyes before he left had Naruto worrying for his master's safety. The blonde didn't know exactly what Jiraiya was up to, but he'd stationed Naruto here in Shannon as a maroon traveler due to the heavy snowfall till the end of the month, with explicit orders that if Jiraiya hadn't returned to him by then, that Naruto was to journey back to Konoha alone with a blood-sealed report Jiraiya had given him to pass along to Tsunade. It had been 3 weeks already. Naruto found the town was full of a lot of retired miners that frequented the local bars. Aside of the bars, there was a local store, a hotel in the residential district, a brothel, and then a small barracks of guards that were to defend the town in case of an attack. By Naruto's judgment, the guards there couldn't defend against more than bandits, and a single trained ninja or samurai could take them all out easily. Of course, that wasn't Naruto's purpose, but Jiraiya drilled into him that knowledge is power, so in spite of the fact Naruto bore no ill will towards anyone, he scoped the town out in case something happened. Naruto was staying in the clean side of town at the hotel where the younger, active miners and their families and children lived. There were perhaps a couple of dozen children of all ages in the whole village. The young ninja wasn't into drinking or whoring, but he frequented the bars because they were the best source of information. He found that it was just like Jiraiya explained to him, drunks don't keep secrets well. It was kind of odd though. Naruto found the old miners' stories while they were drinking were quite entertaining. There was talk about the boarded up old parts of the mines where all kinds of fantastical creatures lived and threatened the miners. One guy even claimed to have fought a dragon. Of course, there was also the guy who lost his left hand while trying to free an angel from a glass prison. His friend supposedly died down there in the rescue attempt. Everyone knew it was a cave-in that got him injured and killed his buddy decades ago. Despite the fact Naruto liked the village in general, there were 2 main problems. The first being prepositioned by women that found the idea of sleeping with a handsome young man far more interesting than some broken-down old retiree full of tall tales. It made Naruto feel embarrassed and awkward, even though his perverted sensei told him he should learn about pleasing a willing woman this way. The other reason was he was concerned both about Jiraiya's safety and to a lesser extent his own. Naruto didn't know why, but deep in his gut he had a feeling of foreboding that wouldn't go away. What if Jiraiya never returned, or even worse, he died? What if the Akatsuki showed up? Sure, Naruto was full of bravado and could take a strong Chunin on, but against S-class criminals like Itachi and Kisame he didn't stand a chance in hell. Maybe he could cause them to laugh themselves to death with his attempts to defend himself. It was a cold and blustery day out when Naruto decided to take a morning jog around the village to stay in shape. The heavy snowfall had let up, and though it was certainly chilly, the sun was out and the children of the village were out playing in the snow under their parents' watchful eyes. It was then Naruto heard a pair of children's voices cry out a ways ahead of him. Fearing someone might be hurt, he poured on the speed to investigate. The blonde ninja soon found several armed men along with very upset women and children looking up towards an abandoned part of the mines. Following their gaze, Naruto saw a pair of crying children running fearfully from a wolf. The animal was obviously starving and hungry. It was bleeding, Naruto assumed, from the villagers, and was stalking the 2 little children. The people of the village were in an uproar as one of the town's guards missed the wolf with his bow and arrow again and again, and now couldn't fire because the 2 kids were too close to the wolf and might be hit by a stray shot. Being the person he was, Naruto jumped in to intervene before the shaking bowman shot one of the kids by accident. Using chakra to increase his speed and totally ignoring the fact Jiraiya explicitly told him to not draw attention to himself, Naruto charged the wolf and tackled it full speed with the intention of scaring the animal out of the village. Unfortunately for Naruto, he underestimated the injured animal. The blonde yelled at the children to run back to the villagers and the now furious wolf attacked him instead. Falling to the ground and tumbling down the opposite slope, Naruto's fighting instincts took over and he started pummeling the beast with chakra-enhanced punches. The starving wolf pounced on him with claws and teeth before it sank its jaws into Naruto's shoulder and wouldn't let go. The orange-loving ninja let out a yell and was barely able to dodge an arrow from the incompetent archer that he caught in his peripheral vision. It would have hit Naruto in the head. The ninja threw himself and the wolf violently to the ground to evade. Unluckily, he landed on a boarded-up mine entrance that was buried under the snow. The combined weight of the impact of the starving wolf and injured ninja caused the once sturdy boards to cave in and they fell into the darkness below. The last thing Naruto remembered was seeing the light from the hole above him and a sharp blow to his skull before he blacked out. In Naruto's mindscape, Kurama, the Kyuubi no Kitsune and greatest on the 9 Biju, was pissed. His stupid container was lying in a pool of his own blood in the bottom of an abyss, dying because he just had to save those stupid human children. It was exasperating. Creatures live and they die. Humans were no different. Even worse, Kurama's moronic jailer tried to scare off the wolf instead of killing it when he had the chance. What the hell was wrong with the blonde? Feeling sorry for a wounded predator. It sounded like the old man's pathetic son Ashura would have done before he fully came into his power. Realization struck Kurama like a lightning bolt. Ashura, why didn't I see it before? Thought Kurama with wide, shocked red eyes. Ashura was a talentless loser that was kind to all things. This boy Naruto is just like Ashura. It's terrifying how much Naruto is like Ashura. Kurama sat in thought about this mystery and reached out with his chakra to sense things. The fox was an amazing sensor, and if this boy was somehow related to Ashura, even with a spark of Ashura's chakra, it would change everything. Kurama for the first time in decades was desperate with hope. As he reached out, he found a nexus at Naruto's chakra core, and was nearly blown away by the pure, untainted power of Ashura's chakra. Kurama felt the calming energies washing his anger and hatred away. He actually shed tears feeling the warmth of the old man's son's power again. After basking in this warmth for what seemed like hours, Kurama felt Ashura's chakra permeate Naruto's soul and body. Uzumaki Naruto is the reincarnation of the old man's son Otsutsuki Ashura. Indra tried to enslave us Biju, but Ashura considered us as siblings and protected us from Indra's accursed eyes that could control us. Kurama closed his eyes and thought forlornly, what do I do now, old man? Is he the one you spoke of? Dare I trust him? No, not yet. I've inadvertently awakened his hidden power. Let's see what the brat does with it. If he is truly Ashura's reincarnation, he will use it to help others, but if he's not, I may have unleashed an insane god on this world. I have to wait and see. I'll also have to gain his trust. To say this was the last thing Kurama expected was a galactic-level understatement. Deep in the Shin'an mines, Naruto woke up feeling strange. His body was horribly battered and bruised from falling through multiple levels of the abandoned mine. Naruto was amazingly durable even by Jinchuruki standards, but the beating he'd taken during this fall was unprecedented. The blonde couldn't even see light from where he'd fallen in as he looked up from his position of lying flat on his back on the floor. He hurt too much to move, but at the same time he felt a soothing warmth flowing gently through his body. Is this death? Am I dying? He thought. Then Naruto felt his shattered frame start to knit itself back together. It's like Tsunade Ba-chan's healing chakra, but it's so much more. I don't know how to describe it. It's like my body was always empty and it's being filled with warm power. I know it's not the fox's chakra because it burns even when it heals me. Elsewhere. A pair of golden slitted eyes opened in the darkness. A monster felt Naruto awaken and was awakened as well. Back with Naruto. Feeling his body was fully restored, Naruto sat up feeling light as a feather. Nothing hurt and he moved his body around experimentally, feeling everything was in its proper place. Even Naruto's shoulder that the wolf bit felt like it was brand new. He noticed the dirt around him was wet and it stank. Not in a musty, dirty way, but as if something died recently. Naruto's first Horrid thought was that he'd massively soiled himself during the fall. First you say it, then you do it, as the saying goes. However, Naruto found the source of the stench was emanating from nearby where the wolf that had fallen with him had impacted. Feeling relief that he didn't need to change his shorts deep in the proverbial bowels of the Shannon mines, Naruto broke out his ninja tools from his scroll and soon found what he was looking for, a flashlight. Clicking the flashlight on, he saw the wolf's remains as well as the massive blood splatter where he'd be lying. How the hell am I still alive? He wondered aloud. It must be the fox's doing. Looking around, Naruto saw his clothing was torn and caked with blood. His gut reaction was to try to clean up, but it wasn't like there was a shower handy. Shrugging, Naruto shined the light up through the hole in the ceiling and saw nothing but inky blackness. As he shined his light either way down the tunnel, he saw one way led down a rail path that he assumed were used for mining carts. The other way was a simple dirt path but was more or less featureless. Eventually Naruto sent a shadow clone down each way. The rail path led downwards deeper into the mine and the dirt path upwards until it stopped. There had been a cave-in decades ago. Considering that the cave-in might lead to a further collapse if he tried to drill through it with a Rasengan, Naruto decided going up through the hole he fell through above was his only option. He used chakra to climb up through the hole in the ceiling and found to his dismay that everything there was so decrepit and damaged that it crumbled when he made contact with it. When he finally managed to get to the level above, the floor under him collapsed and he ended up down in the hall where he'd started. After letting out a colorful string of curses, Naruto decided to follow the rail path. At least it seemed structurally solid. Naruto followed the lonely path down and eventually found it divided 3 ways at a large cavern. The air was thick and stale down the left path, and it appeared that something had been there recently and kicked up a lot of dust. Given he started coughing even when he stepped into that tunnel, Naruto crossed it off as a path to take quickly. The next path was an extension of the railway tunnel, but 20 feet it was caved in as well. Naruto had the eerie feeling that it had been caved in on purpose. He had no idea why he felt that way, but it chilled him to the bone. The blonde quickly turned towards the third and last passage. The blonde ninja traveled down about 200 meters down the third path until he literally hit a wall. A solid metal wall, to be precise. There were marks all around it as if other people had been there and had tried to drill or cut through it. There were several broken blades and bits of metal to attest to this. There was also a nearly invisible seam that ran across the wall diagonally, almost as if it was a sealed door. He ran his hand across the seam and was amazed at how smooth the metal was. That's when Naruto heard something approaching down the tunnel from behind him rapidly. He only got a glimpse of yellow, slitted eyes before an enormous blade came towards him in the blink of an eye. Naruto lost his flashlight and created a, unknowingly to him, single-handed Rasengan to counter. Using sound and sensing with chakra far better than he ever considered possible, Naruto and the thing with the blade battled brutally in the tunnel, and Naruto could sense he nearly lost his head more than once as the air was displaced near his body. Finally Naruto got an advantage in this point-blank knife fight in the blackness when he connected with the base of the blade with an Odama Rasengan. The thing made a cracking sound and then seemed to shatter like glass. Keeping up his momentum, Naruto grabbed where the 2 slitted eyes were glowing in the dark and shoved a normal Rasengan where he hoped its neck would be. It made the same shattering sound and stopped all movement. The eyes still staring at the decapitated head in his hand faded out as Naruto dropped it to the floor. Naruto's instincts told him the thing was dead, and he quickly grabbed the fallen flashlight on the floor to see what on earth he'd just killed. When the light shined where he knew the head should be, he was horrified. It was a woman. Well, sort of anyway. It appeared that she was partially decayed like some kind of zombie. The skull showed through in areas and then the muscles and finally the skin. She seemed deformed in places and her flesh appeared to be semi-transparent like crystal. Was I fighting a statue? Wondered Naruto. He shined the light around and saw the body. It looked even more human. It was as if someone had taken a decaying corpse and turned it to crystal. The blade was apparently the woman thing's right hand. It was fascinating, repulsive and terrifying all at the same time. Even the woman's long hair was made of silken strands of crystal. Naruto was about to ponder the situation a bit further when he heard a mechanical sound behind him. From behind the metal wall, It slid open along the diagonal seam and the bright light from within nearly blinded the blonde ninja. After his eyes adjusted, Naruto saw the decayed body of a miner lying at the door that had been there for decades. The miner was bisected with his upper and lower halves in opposing positions and the top of his skull was neatly cut open, leaving it empty. There was no sign of brain matter. As Naruto looked into the room, he saw numerous clear glass tubes from the floor to the 12-foot ceiling that were each about 5 feet in diameter. Each one was shattered or cracked and a partial or completely decayed woman made of crystal was within every one of them. They all had the same dead, slitted gold eyes staring lifelessly at him, and Naruto was seriously creeped out. Several of them had various weapons as well. As the blonde ninja stared at this macabre menagerie, he lost control of his stomach and threw up. After emptying the contents of his gut, Naruto heard a disembodied voice speaking in a foreign language that he couldn't make heads or tails of. It said 3 other things and each seemed to be a question from the tone, and each was phrased in a different language from what he could tell. Feeling confused, Naruto turned to leave when the voice said in the local dialect, "Do you understand this language? Please answer yes if you comprehend," in a calm but pleasant voice that seemed devoid of emotion. Naruto stopped wide-eyed and stared in shock at the room. Against his better judgment he answered, "Yes." The disembodied voice said, "Excellent. You speak the most recent dialect added to this system, added 40 years ago. This artificial intelligence only has 1 intact Pandora remaining and will not be able to preserve her for longer than another 5 years due to gradual system degradation and breakdown. All attempts to contact various commands through all means have failed. Please state your name." "My name is Uzumaki Naruto," said the ninja hesitantly. The AI said pleasantly, "Please enter Uzumaki Naruto. We are entering your name and language into the remaining Pandora now so she will be able to address you properly." "I'm not setting 1 foot into that death trap," said Naruto. "There are corpses everywhere. It is regrettable, but as power systems failed and the systems degraded due to age and lack of maintenance, this AI was forced to shut down life support systems on the deceased Pandoras," explained the AI in the same pleasant voice. "What about this guy at the door?" asked Naruto. "He's been cut in half and his head's been cut open by God knows what." "Unfortunately, the individual in question sought to destroy this facility and placed our last 2 Pandoras in danger," replied the AI. "He damaged the life support on one and she was not revived properly. She promptly became a berserker and escaped this facility, and repairs were not able to be effected on her. She terminated him by cutting him in half. This facility was sealed because of the danger of her re-entering and destroying the last Pandora. It was only reopened because of her termination mere minutes ago." "What about his skull being carved open? Where's his brain?" asked Naruto. The AI said in the same tone. After 14.5 hours of deliberation by this AI, the subject's brain was removed posthumously in the interest of adding the local dialect to this AI's library. This operation was a success, and as a result we are fully able to communicate. "You took a dead guy's brain out to learn his language," said Naruto in a flat tone. "That is correct," stated the AI. Sighing, Naruto asked, "So what are these crystal women and why are they decayed? Are they Pandoras?" "Again correct, Uzumaki Naruto," answered the AI. "They are human women implanted with stigmatic tissues to increase their combat abilities against novas. A side effect of this is if they are not revived properly, their bodies decay and undergo a gradual crystallization. What you see are the decayed remains of Pandoras that have crystallized over time." Naruto cringed. How long have they been dead, and why was the one I defeated outside still moving even though she was decaying in crystal? Gradual termination by cutting off life support was started 200 years ago. As of 40 years ago only 2 were left, and the one you defeated was the one damaged beyond repair. Early crystallization and decay was caused by her not being revived properly, droned on the AI. "Couldn't you have just woken the Pandoras up instead of killing them?" asked the blonde ninja. The machine explained, "It is regrettable, but that could have revealed this base to the Novas and they would stop at nothing to destroy these recreated Pandoras. The Pandoras and their secrets had to remain hidden from the Novas at all costs." Naruto asked confused, "Then why not terminate this last one if secrecy is so important?" The computer seemed to pause as if thinking. This AI was given 2 primary functions. Command Protocol 1 states that Pandoras must be preserved to defend humanity against Novas. Protocol 2 states that the secrets of the Pandoras can never fall into the hands of the Novas and termination is preferable to capture. As of 40 years ago only on Pandora remained. She is the most powerful in this facility and must be preserved. Of the 50 Pandoras that were recreated through cloning here, she alone has the highest probability of survival and would likely self-terminate before being captured by the Novas. So you had conflicting orders and decided to let her live? Asked Naruto. This artificial intelligence deliberated the subject for 15.7 years before reaching that decision, said the AI. It was concluded that the last Pandora would be preserved if at all possible by entrusting her to the safety of an individual who can guide her through the society existing today. Had you not come along, this system calculates that she would most likely have perished when this facility runs out of power within the next 5 years. Naruto then asked, okay, then what are these Novas the Pandoras are supposed to fight? That question will be answered by the Pandora once she determines you are fully trustworthy with such classified information. Civilians are unauthorized to know details about the Novas, answered the computer. Do you agree to help guide the last Pandora through your society, Uzumaki Naruto? As long as she's not a threat to humans, I will aid her in what little ways I can, answered the ninja. The computer paused again. Your answer will have to suffice. She is a defender of humanity and already gave her life once to protect humans. This AI has already deliberated that you are her last chance. Beginning revival procedures for Pandora designated Chiffon Aoi Fairchild. Naruto watched as the tube seems to take a life of their own and the single intact one rotated to the front of the room before him. Inside of it was an ethereally beautiful young woman with dark blonde hair. *1 She was naked and suspended in a clear life-supporting fluid as she floated in the fetal position. She looked as in she was sleeping peacefully. If the situation hadn't been so deadly serious, Naruto probably would have been blown back by a massive nosebleed, but he was on guard in case he had to destroy her. The whole process of reviving the young woman and somehow putting Naruto's native tongue in her mind took nearly 2 hours. 2 hours that seemed like 2 decades to Naruto. In Chiffon's mindscape, Chiffon came into awareness in a dream-like state. She remembered fighting Amelia Evans and giving her own life to both protect humanity and save Amelia before her body finally disintegrated. The perpetually smiling legendary Pandora hoped she would pass into a peaceful afterlife after that. Now her mind was being filled with data that she died in the 11th Nova clash and others soon followed. It seemed her father, Aoi Gengo, had decided that her dying once for the sake of humanity was not enough. Chiffon was chosen as the most powerful to lead a squad of 50 Pandoras who had also given their lives, all being revived through super cloning technology developed years after her death. Unfortunately, the date that this all happened was unknown. The artificial intelligence that preserved her and her 49 sisters was damaged and the date-keeping system was only brought back online 327 years ago. As she absorbed more and more data, she found out the heartbreaking situation and that all the other Pandoras were dead that were in her unit. The artificial intelligence only saw fit to revive her because of the arrival of a stranger named Uzumaki Naruto. Chiffon's mind reeled. The language that was being fed into her brain was akin to Japanese, but it was like comparing medieval languages to modern ones. They were related obviously, but a speaker of the Japanese she knew and a speaker of this new Japanese would barely be able to communicate. At least the computer was solving that. Other than saying she'd been in suspended animation for over 3 centuries, she couldn't even hazard a guess. Chiffon suspected it was much longer. What happened to the Novas? Thought Chiffon frantically. Did we defeat them for good? Did they win? Are we in hiding? Are they still out there lying in wait? The young woman got a little calmer when it was revealed to her that this Uzumaki Naruto hadn't ever even heard of Novas, but he might not know them by that name. Did we somehow make peace with the Novas? She wondered doubtfully. Chiffon let out a mental sigh and concluded that all the answers would reveal themselves in time. For the time being she would simply masquerade as a normal human until she'd fully accessed the situation. Currently she didn't even have a visual image of this Naruto person. Apparently he refused to enter the lab and the external cameras no longer functioned. At first she wondered why he was literally waiting at the door, but after being given the visuals of the facility's current state she quickly understood. Crystallized bodies were everywhere in various states of decay. It looked like a scene from a horror movie. Playing back the AI's interactions with this Naruto person revealed he defeated a damaged Pandora and was extremely cautious. He had more or less confirmed he would help Chiffon, but it was obvious he saw her as a potential threat. It was clear to Chiffon he was some kind of warrior and a powerful one to have defeated a Pandora even if she was irreparably damaged. Chiffon felt her body awakening finally and uncurled herself into the standing position. She opened her eyes to the slitted position she normally had them in, no need to frighten this Naruto person, and looked about. She first saw her fellow Pandora's remains and felt very sick and sad inside. They all seemed to stare at her accusingly for being alive while they died for her. She also noticed they all had her unusual gold eyes that she always hid. She suspected they were created after she died. Why did it have to be this way? Are other Pandoras out there in the world, or am I the only one left? Doing her best to push those depressing thoughts aside, Chiffon looked over and caught her first glimpse of Naruto. She saw a rather handsome blonde teenager dressed in heavy winter clothes. His clothes were ripped and torn and coated in blood. The Pandora gasped. Telling the AI to pipe her voice through, she asked worriedly, "Uzumaki-san, you are badly injured and covered in blood." Naruto was surprised to hear the girl speak. She had a kind but very concerned voice. He said, "I'm fine. Most of the blood isn't mine, miss. Are you revived now?" "My body would need another hour before it is completely stabilized," she answered. "And what an incredible body," cheered Naruto's inner pervert. Blushing slightly, Naruto said, "I guess we'll just have to wait then." "I thank you for agreeing to help me," said Chiffon. "Many wouldn't have in your position. Seeing what this lab looks like, many would have run away and not looked back." Naruto sat down in a meditative position and said, "I would have left if that machine hadn't spoken to me in my language. It is a vision of hell in there." Chiffon nodded. "It is tragic that this happened. Part of me wishes I'd never been awakened. I'm afraid I'll be in your care for a while. I hope we can get along, Uzumaki-san." She smiled kindly and Naruto blushed. "I'm sure we'll get along fine, miss," said the ninja. "And just call me Naruto. I'm not much on formalities." The Pandora's smile widened. "Then please just call me Chiffon, Naruto-san. It is a pleasure to meet you." "Likewise," said Naruto. "Damn, this erection is killing me. Why did she have to be so naked and so hot? I hope she doesn't notice. I'd die of embarrassment if she saw I had a major hard-on for her." "So what is the world like outside?" asked Chiffon, trying to start a conversation. She had nothing else to do to pass the time until her body fully stabilized. "It looks pitch black outside. Is it nighttime?" Naruto scratched his head nervously. "We're deep inside an abandoned mine that is hundreds of years old. I fell down here and I stumbled upon this place while looking for a way out," said Chiffon. "Oh dear. I think that sums it up pretty well," replied Naruto. An hour later, the tube drained of fluid, leaving a terrible antiseptic smell throughout the lab. Chiffon felt her body finally settle on the floor of the tube, and her body was now supporting itself against gravity. Air entered her lungs for the first time and she felt immense relief that she was breathing again. She looked down and saw the vents in the floor open up and then, nothing. She asked, "AI, why have the fans not activated to dry my body of the life support fluid?" The machine word clicked and then said, "The fans are inoperative, Chiffon Aoi Fairchild. Reason unknown. There is a high probability that they are damaged from gradual degradation." Chiffon asked, "Is there a place I can shower and cleanse myself?" "Negative," answered the AI. "All food and water supplies are in an advanced state of contamination and decay." Chiffon was still smiling, but her eyebrows twitched in irritation. "Are there any towels then? I need to dry off." "Towels may be found in the clothing locker," droned on the AI. "It's a start," thought Chiffon with a sigh. "Please open the tube so I can access the clothing locker." AI. "Complying," said the computer. The tube started making a grinding noise before the inner layer started sliding down and the outer layer started to slide up. About halfway through the process, the tube sparked and stopped as steam leaked from the floor and ceiling, leaving Chiffon trapped. Operation stopped due to mechanical malfunction. "Would you like the tube closed until repairs can be effected?" Chiffon's eyebrows were really twitching now. "No AI, I would not. I will open it manually." She slid her fingers under the raised upper half of the tube and braced herself before she exerted a tremendous amount of physical force and basically rammed the upper half of the tube into the ceiling, which caused smoke, arcing and sparking to occur. Naruto fearfully thought of Tsunade Ba-chan's monstrous strength as Chiffon's face turned to a self-satisfied smirk. She quickly hopped out over the bottom half of the tube. She smiled at Naruto and said to him, "Excuse me while I go to the clothing locker and retrieve some towels and a uniform. Being exposed like this is rather embarrassing." Quickly turning and hiding her blush of modesty, Chiffon went to the back of the lab to the door marked, "Clothing." After pressing the open switch several times, Chiffon gripped the door and ripped it open too. The sight inside wasn't pretty. Apparently a ceiling pipe broke in the distant past and coated the room and everything in it in a substance that promoted the growth of mold. It had happened so long ago that now even the mold was dead. Chiffon growled and then sweat dropped. Naruto saw the naked, wet Chiffon pad over to him lightly, looking very embarrassed. "It seems the clothing has all been ruined beyond wearing," she said nervously. "Can you help me out here?" *2. Had this been at a swimming pool or a hot springs, Naruto would have yelled, "Oh yes baby. Come to Papa," but instead he looked away and retrieved a scroll with a spare uniform in it. Unsealing the orange tracksuit, he held it out to her and said, "Try this, I hope it fits you." He knew it was going to be snug around that chest. He could tell she was close to the same height as him at about 170 centimeters, but the idea of his tracksuit fitting around her voluptuous body kind of made him forget about how tall she was. Their hands touched as he handed her the clothes, and Chiffon's eyes opened wide in shock. Azure blue eyes met slitted gold as they both experienced a fathomless well of power within each other. They both thought, "What are you?" Neither felt threatened by the other, just awed. 20 minutes later, Naruto looked up from his meditative position on the floor when he heard Chiffon patter up in front of him. She'd had to cinch the pants to go around her narrow waist and couldn't quite get the jacket zipped up to the top because of her bust. "It fits her wrong, but she looks so damn right in my clothes," thought Naruto as he fought back a nosebleed. Fighting back his inner pervert that was violently clawing to get out, Naruto said, "Is there anything salvageable you can use in that lab?" Chiffon shook her head. "I looked over the storage areas and there's nothing left intact. It's all in ruins." The ninja said, "I have about 2 weeks worth of supplies for me, so that means we have a week's worth of supplies for both of us. We have a week to get out of this abyss, Chiffon-san." Chiffon smiled and said, "Then let's do our best then, Naruto-san." After having simple meal in the tunnel, Naruto still wouldn't set foot in the lab. Chiffon told the AI to shut down and stay in standby mode to conserve energy. Naruto collected several conventional burning torches from the mine walls for use later, and the two travelers set of hoping to find a passage out of these abysmal mines. Iron Country, the Shannon Mines. After 5 days of what seemed like endless wandering through dark, stagnant tunnels, Naruto and Chiffon felt a draft of cold fresh air. "Thank the gods," thought Naruto aloud. They gradually traveled up a shallow, curving incline until they came to a large cavern that was hollowed out as if an animal had been hibernating there, only it was far too large for any animal they knew of. Mining machinery and crates had all been pushed to the sides of the hollow and lined the nest. There were pinpricks of light though. It looked as if there were open-air areas and even a large exit about 15 feet across that were all blocked by snow and ice. The light filtering in through the ice gave the whole room the effect of twilight. They figured it was a miner's staging point at one time. "This is wonderful, Naruto-san," exclaimed Chiffon happily as she clapped her hands together once. "If you make some more of those marvelous shadow clones you showed me, I'm sure we'll be able to dig our way out in no time." Naruto smiled at her enthusiasm. "Well, even with shadow clones we'll need to be careful. This place looks good and solid, but after the several cave-ins we've had to avoid or dig ourselves out of, we can't be sloppy now at the finish line." Chiffon was beaming regardless. "Just start with 4 or 5 then. I just can't wait to get out in the sunlight." Soon the sounds of 5 shadow clones using their kunai as ice picks were heard, and Chiffon and Naruto watched from several feet back as they made steady progress. Chiffon's ears perked up at the sound of the original Naruto's stomach growling over the sounds of the clones digging. She giggled. "Your stomach is really growling, Naruto-san. You must be hungry." She looked over at Naruto, who had a look of dread on his face. That wasn't my stomach, Chiffon-san, said the blonde ninja. The growling got louder as they both looked back behind them, and felt hot breath stream out over them. Oh, dear, said Chiffon as two massive bloodshot eyes blinked themselves awake behind them. A maw of wickedly sharp teeth yawned and the growling increased as a face something like a giant, demonic rat badger thing appeared out of the darkness in the recesses of the cave. The less than pleasant sounds it made were rather telling that it wasn't too happy to have its winter nap disturbed. I think we're in someone's home, Chiffon-san, and I think that someone is angry, whispered Naruto in fear. The creature lunged forward and destroyed 4 of the 5 shadow clones that woke it up, shattering a great deal of ice at the exit. Naruto and Chiffon were both fortunate enough to have dodged its initial strike. Naruto started to form a Rasengan and Chiffon activated her Volt weapon, which was a massive claw on her right arm. A rat-like tail flashed out of the darkness and hit Naruto with a whip-crack sound and sent the ninja flying. While Naruto crashed against some boxes, the creature roared angrily and then Chiffon yelled, "Bad boy!" and hit its face with her claw, which caused the beast to recoil and fly back with a crash to where it had been sleeping with a pained shriek. Had Naruto not been in so much pain himself, he would have sweat dropped at Chiffon scolding a monster like a misbehaving pet. Chiffon instantly appeared by Naruto and said, "Are you alright, Naruto-san?" as Naruto's chakra started glowing blue and regenerating his body rapidly. By that time the enraged monster inhaled extraordinarily to the point it was swelled and emitted a massive firestorm from its mouth. Naruto flared his chakra to the maximum to form a chakra cloak to shield both Chiffon and himself from the incoming inferno. Out of the corner of their eyes, Chiffon and Naruto noticed in the expanding firelight that several of the boxes lining the creature's nest were labeled with danger, explosives written on them. Their last thought before the cave detonated like a demolition-level exploding tag was, "Oh, fuck." Cave exit. Naruto and Chiffon were blown a good 50 meters out of the cave entrance and onto the snow-covered mountainside outside. They both were a lot worse for wear and covered in soot, bumps and bruises. By some miracle neither of them was killed, or even seriously burned for all that matter. Naruto's instinctive chakra shield had kept them safe. They both sat up in the deep snow and looked at each other. Chiffon gave a tired smile after a few tense moments. "Well, at least the creature doesn't appear to be coming out after us. I believe we are safe." The blonde ninja nodded and looked at the billows of black smoke leaking from the now much enlarged cave exit made Naruto wonder if the, whatever it was, had survived the explosion. Deciding that crawling back up there to find out was probably a very bad idea, Naruto looked at the bright morning sunlight shining in the massive expanse of snow on the mountainside. The fresh air and sunlight felt wonderful. "It's going to be a long walk down, but I agree we should be safe now," he replied. The relief in his voice was evident. That's when they both heard a massive rumble like thunder above them. Chiffon's gold eyes widened in shock and horror as the snow on the mountainside above them started to break loose from the earlier explosion. "Oh, you have got to be shitting me, it's an avalanche!" she screamed. Before Chiffon knew it, she was thrown over Naruto's shoulder facing backwards as Naruto used chakra to run on top of the deep snow. As he tore down the mountainside at blazing speed, the avalanche was closing rapidly. The look of terror etched upon Chiffon's face was the last thing that could be seen as they were buried alive. Mountainside. Naruto awoke and found he was lying on his back on top of the snow. Looking up, he saw the sun was going down and he heard snoring. He looked over and saw Chiffon sleeping peacefully with her dainty bare feet resting on his chest. She was snoring cutely as she rested in the snow. Naruto let out a small groan and she blinked her eyes a couple of times before settling them back into their usual slits. Chiffon sat up, stretched and smiled brightly. "Naruto-san, I'm so glad you woke up. I was watching over you and I sat my feet on you because you were so warm. I was so comfortable that I guess I must have dozed off after that." Naruto's sweat dropped. How can she be so nonchalant about this? We damn near died, so what exactly happened after the avalanche hit? Chiffon put her finger to her chin and said, "Well, it was something like this." Flashback. Chiffon was about to shift into her Pandora mode for safety when Naruto startled her by falling face first in the snow. Unfortunately, his momentum was so high that he kept sliding like a sled in the snow with the hapless Chiffon riding backwards clinging onto his back. She was a bit too confused to react for a few seconds but regained her bearings and turned into her Pandora mode to block the incoming tidal wave of snow. Flashback end. Anyway, after I hopped off of your back Naruto-san, you slid about another 30 meters on your face and started crashing end over end after that. Explained Chiffon as Naruto's sweat drop grew larger and larger. Then after the snow hit I dug my way to the surface. I fortunately saw your left foot sticking straight up out of the snow when I looked around and I dug you out. You looked really bad and I was afraid you'd have serious frost burns and injuries, but you started glowing again and healed right up, and here we are now, safe and sound, she said smiling. Looking down the slope she said, we should probably camp here tonight and start heading down the mountainside in the morning. There were lots of peaks in the land below them but it looked lush and green. Do you have any idea where that is Naruto-san? She asked pointing downwards. Naruto nodded. I'm pretty sure it's Fang Country 1, which is to the south of Iron Country. We must have traveled over 50 kilometers underground to get here. Is it a safe place? Asked Chiffon. It should be Chiffon-san, said Naruto. Jiraiya frequents there from time to time, but I've never been there. Naruto pulled out a slightly singed notebook. According to what I have here, Master Jiraiya has down there a neutral but friendly country and Konoha is on good terms with them. They have some border tensions with the nearby Claw country but it should be safe enough for us. Maybe there's a decent hospital there and we can get some new clothes. Seeing that both of them were a complete mess, not to mention they stank to high heaven, Naruto concluded that the orange jumpsuits they were wearing were a total loss. Between burns, rips, holes, tears, bloodstains and being coated in dirt and soot, it would be cheaper to buy new clothes than get these repaired. Shame to waste all this orange though, lamented Naruto. Naruto quickly went about setting up his tent to shelter them for the night and keep them semi-warm. Fang Country. The next morning and into the afternoon the pair trekked down the mountainside and eventually stopped at a riverside inside Fang Country. Naruto wanted nothing more than to throw his clothes off and clean himself in the river, but since Chiffon was there and had on his only spare uniform, he stripped to his boxers and washed himself. He was glad Chiffon wasn't like Sakura and didn't deck him for his lack of modesty. She was bathing around the bend out of his sight but within hearing range. Actually, given her strength and that claw, most enemies would be running from her as she pummeled them while smiling the whole time, thought Naruto with a shiver. After scrubbing his clothes thoroughly in the river, Naruto sat them out on the shore to dry and wore his soaked boxers as they were. He built a fire to cook with and sent out several shadow clones to hunt something down. Naruto was famished and sick to death of the ninja rations that he and Chiffon had been sharing. They keep you alive but they are about as tasty as cardboard. God, what I'd give for a ramen buffet, he thought as Chiffon came into view. She was wearing his spare, drenched boxers and had his too tight t-shirt wrapped around her ample bust. Oh gods, she's a walking wet dream, thought Naruto as he staunched a massive nosebleed. Not a pervert, not a pervert, he chanted in his mind. As several X-rated images shot through his mind of what he and the beautiful Chiffon could be doing alone in the forest, and he mentally screamed, "Damn you for corrupting me, Ero Sennin," and got a massive blush. Chiffon came up smiling in her usual way and asked, "Are you all right, Naruto-san? Your face is all red." "I'm just fine," he stammered out. As their clothes dried, Naruto dried. He did his best not to stare at her voluptuous figure. Fortunately, his clones arrived with a fresh boar kill and Naruto busied himself with cooking while Chiffon dozed off in the warm sunlight and was soon snoring cutely again, and totally oblivious to poor Naruto's fearsome battle with his inner pervert going on. Naruto woke up Chiffon a couple of hours later and the pair both stuffed themselves and got their matching, incredibly battered orange tracksuits on. Having worked hard a day, they decided to camp there for the night in Naruto's beat-up tent that had also been washed and aired out. Now that they were out of danger, they were able to visit about things peacefully by the fire. "So that's what a nova is, huh?" asked Naruto. "Well, if huge monsters dead set on sucking all the life forces out of humanity were still running around, I'm sure that someone would have heard of them. I've never even heard of legends or fairy tales about something like that, and the old man Hokage used to tell me all kinds of old stories. Maybe Master Jiraiya or the Toads might know something. I just wish we knew how long ago you were put in that place." Chiffon shrugged and then smiled. "Well, The fusion reactor the facility was powered by could last 3,500 years assuming there were no problems. If the Nova threat is no longer, then I would be incredibly happy. The last recorded Nova clash before I went into suspended animation showed humanity was losing, but maybe we made a comeback somehow. Or maybe humanity evolved. The powers you have are amazing, and in my time it would have been assumed you had stigmatic tissue. The same goes for the bloodline limits you've described. What about all this amazing technology that you were talking about? Asked the ninja. Do you miss it? The Pandora tilted her head in thought. Well, if trading off that technology for safety from the Novas was a choice, then I'd take living in a less advanced society any day. Feeling like the world could end at any given second was a dismal and depressing atmosphere to live in. I feel peaceful here. I know you say you are a ninja and all, but you seem like a warm and kind person to me, Naruto-san. You saved my life. I hope we can become good friends. Naruto hid his blush in the low light. I'd like that too, Chiffon-san. Fang Country Hospital. A man with long, white spiky hair was laying there wrapped up like a mummy, and his uncovered eye twinkled as he felt a perturbance in the perversity. Did my beloved apprentice finally get laid? He thought perversely. The super pervert would have started giggling in joy if it didn't hurt so damn much. Being in a body cast really sucks, he thought, depressed. Jiraiya eventually dozed off, hoping his godson was enjoying pleasures of the flesh in the mining village of Shannon, where they coincidentally had a funeral for the brave, nameless young hero who had saved 2 children from a wolf attack a few days prior. Fang Country, main road. The primary ways of travel through Fang Country was by river, but there was still a main road for travelers. In the early morning, Naruto and Chiffon came up to the gates looking like 2 refugees from a war zone. The guards were a bit taken aback. The girl didn't even have sandals, for God's sake. Fortunately, they noticed Naruto's banged-up forehead protector with the Village of the Leaves emblem upon it. Greetings, Leaf Ninja, welcomed one of the guards. Welcome to Fang Country. Please state your business in this visit. Naruto sighed in relief that they wouldn't have to sneak into the country to resupply. Thank you, gods, thought Naruto. Genin Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha Village and my companion Chiffon Fairchild are visiting to seek medical attention and resupply after our mission. He quickly presented his slightly burned identification papers. That's the second one this week, said one of the guards as he checked the papers over and confirmed them. How did these papers get in such a state? The question died in the guard's mouth when he looked up and saw Naruto and Chiffon's burnt and tattered clothing. Chiffon maintained her smile, but her eyebrow was twitching. Naruto said in a tone of irritation, in case you haven't guessed by our appearance, guard-san, we were caught in an explosion, which is why we need medical attention. Though Naruto didn't say it, the implication that the guard was a complete moron for asking, everyone present got the idea. Sorry, stammered the guard. All of your papers are in order, welcome. He quickly motioned them through the gates. Another guard said, the hospital is up the road on the left. At least you're in better shape than that Konoha ninja that came in a week ago. Naruto perked up. What is this ninja's name? Oh, he's famous, exclaimed the guard. He's the great Jiraiya-sama. You should visit him if you are a fan. Isn't that your sensei? Asked Chiffon in a low tone as they walked towards the hospital. The blonde ninja's sweat dropped. That would be him. You'd better be okay, Ero Sennin. Naruto thought worriedly. Fang Country Hospital, front desk. We both need to be checked over for injuries, and I'd like to inquire about Jiraiya of the Sennin and if he's okay, said Naruto worriedly. The old nurse got a rather surly look on her face. Are you here to pay for Jiraiya-sama's medical bills? No, I didn't know that it was an issue, replied Naruto, unsettled. It is, said the old nurse, glaring. If you and your friend want medical treatment, it will have to be paid in advance, cash only. This isn't a charity we run here, you know. Naruto cringed and got out his wallet. Gama-chan. How much? He asked morosely. 10 minutes later, Naruto was openly weeping at the damage to his funds as he sat in the waiting room. Chiffon was seeing a lady doctor to get a checkup and anything else she needed while Naruto waited his turn. Poor Gama-chan, you were so plump, full and happy, and now you look anorexic, he thought sadly. Over the next 45 minutes Chiffon got a full checkup. She was a Pandora and therefore extremely sturdy, but after cave-ins, explosions and avalanches. She had to agree with Naruto that a full examination was in order. They also graciously gave her a yukata to cover her exposed midriff. They also gave her light-duty flip-flop sandals. Naruto was next and like chiffon was checked over and cleaned thoroughly. Who'd have ever thought someone could get soot in their ears? He wondered to himself. Feeling thoroughly cleansed, Naruto stepped out in the lobby where chiffon was awaiting him. The Pandora looked concerned. It seems that Master Jiraiya is in room 301. The nursing staff seems to hold him in very low esteem. They warned me that he's some kind of pervert. Naruto sighed. Jiraiya-sensei is a pervert. Bearing that in mind, we're going to go some decent clothes for you so he won't get any perverted ideas about you. Chiffon giggled. It sounds like you and your master have an interesting relationship. That's an understatement. Groaned Naruto as Chiffon's smile widened. Naruto pondered aloud. Well, we should visit Master Jiraiya to check on him and then go buy some clothes for you. Chiffon asked, are you sure you have enough money, Naruto-san? I have some emergency funds and it will be for the best, said Naruto. A lady such as yourself shouldn't have to wear wrecked ninja clothes in a hospital yukata. A lady such as myself, giggled Chiffon. You're making me blush, Naruto-san. Her quiet laughter filled the hall and made Naruto feel warm inside. Let's go meet your perverted master before we go shopping. Room 301. Jiraiya was bored. All of the pretty young nurses were angry with him for the lecherous things he said while heavily under the influence of massive amounts of painkillers. The Toad Sage couldn't even remember what he'd said. Sadly, the only nurses that saw him now were old mean ones with the personalities of bulldogs and the looks to match. They were also angry when they found he couldn't pay for his medical expenses. As soon as he got well enough, he was going to summon a messenger toad to try to get Tsunade to send some money from Konoha. That's when he heard Naruto's voice outside his door. Well, this is room 301. Let's see if Master Jiraiya is awake. Naruto, thought Jiraiya. Hallelujah. Naruto, my financial salvation. Praise the gods. He saw Naruto walk in with a beautiful young woman that had dark blonde hair. She was wearing a very snug-fitting hospital yukata that showed off her impressive bosom, with Naruto's orange clothes showing underneath. Jiraiya had tears of pride in his eyes as he saw his apprentice had finally scored. And what a hottie he'd scored with. Naruto, my apprentice, I am so glad to see you, said Jiraiya proudly. Then he noticed Naruto looked like he'd just walked out of the Third Shinobi War. What happened to you, Naruto? How is the boy even alive? He looks like he was in a fire. Are you all right? Naruto walked over with Chiffon at his side. I'm fine, sensei. Just got attacked by a wolf, fell down an abandoned mineshaft, got caught in an explosion and then ended up in an avalanche. Nothing I can't handle. Jiraiya was gaping like a fish at this point. I'd like to introduce you to Chiffon Fairchild-san, my friend and traveling companion. He turned to Chiffon. Chiffon-san, this is my sensei Jiraiya-sama. Chiffon smiled warmly at Jiraiya and bowed slightly. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Jiraiya-sama. Naruto-san has told me a bit about your travels together. It's very nice to meet you in person. Jiraiya had a slight nosebleed at the vision in front of him, but it was fortunately hidden by the bandages. Deciding to play it smooth for Naruto's sake, he said, It's a pleasure to meet you too, Chiffon-san. You're such a ravishing young beauty. I hope my apprentice has been a gentleman with you. Naruto's eyes nearly rolled out of his head at that comment. Before he could say anything back at the old pervert, Chiffon said, Naruto-san has been a complete gentleman with me. I owe him my life twice over. Jiraiya was mentally having a fit of perverted giggles. I knew you had it in you, Naruto, my boy. Women love a gallant hero to sweep them off their feet, and you're becoming one just like me and your old man. Getting himself under control, Jiraiya said, How did you find me, Naruto? I figured you'd head straight for Konoha. The blonde ninja scratched his head nervously. Well, Chiffon-san and I came to get a medical checkup after the explosion and the avalanche we went through, and we heard another Konoha ninja was here at the hospital. Several nurses were complaining and I knew it was you. It seems your reputation precedes you, Jiraiya-sama, said Chiffon with a smile. Jiraiya would have face-faulted if he hadn't already been bedridden. He glared accusingly at Naruto, which wasn't very effective with all the bandages. Naruto looked innocent and then said, So what happened to you, Jiraiya-sensei? Well, You might say I got ambushed during my mission, said Jiraiya, leaving any details out due to Chiffon's presence. These things happen in our line of work. So how did you two come to meet? He asked, changing the subject. Naruto, hand signed, classified, will report later. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow under his bandages as Naruto said, we can chit-chat about that later, sensei. Seeing as you are all right, I need to take Chiffon-san into town and get her some proper attire. Both of us had our clothes torn up bad in the explosion. Jiraiya barely nodded. That hurt too. Well, don't let me keep you from getting such a beautiful young lady some new clothes. Preferably lacy lingerie. We can catch up later and maybe you can help me out a bit with a tiny financial issue that has arisen. You mean the fact you can't pay your medical bills? Asked Naruto in a flat tone. The Toad Sanin's eyes widened and he stammered, how did you hear about that? It was all the nurse at the check-in desk would talk about, explained Chiffon. To get medical treatment for us, Naruto-san had to pay all in advance, cash only. Jiraiya cringed. I'll do what I can. The daimyo of Fang Country is a huge fan of mine. He's even bought advanced copies of my literary genius. I'm sure he'd be willing to work out a deal if you got an audience with him. You are my apprentice after all. Naruto growled. Ero Sennin, under his breath, and then said, we'll discuss it tomorrow. Right now, Chiffon-san and I need to find a place to stay and get her some clothes. Jiraiya said approvingly, of course, a lady must always come first. I hope to see you again soon, my dear. Likewise, Jiraiya-sama, said Chiffon politely as she and Naruto left with a wave goodbye. Maybe I can avoid a beating by not having to ask Tsunade for money, thought Jiraiya. Damn, that Chiffon girl is fine. Good job, Naruto, you're finally becoming a man. Outside the hospital, Chiffon was talking to a few of the nurses she'd met that were outside taking a break. She explained her clothes had been ruined during their trip and that she needed to find a nice but inexpensive boutique to get a basic wardrobe for herself and then one for Naruto. When she explained that, Naruto agreed to pay for everything, the nurses there got stars in their eyes and suggested a place called Riverbend's Ladies' Wear. They also suggested several cute and coincidentally romantic places to eat. Chiffon bowed and thanked them kindly before going over to Naruto, who was scoping the town. His initial idea had been to send out an army of clones to search, but Chiffon assured him that asking the locals would be better. The nurses watched as Chiffon and Naruto walked off in the direction of Riverbends. What a cute couple. I wish I had a handsome boyfriend that would buy me lots of clothes, exclaimed one of the younger nurses. Well, no wonder she likes him, said another dreamily. I helped examine him. He's not only handsome but he's a strong ninja with a great body. She should be able to win him over with the lingerie at Riverbends, said the oldest of the group. They have the sexiest little outfits there, and Madame Mai, who runs the place, has the best taste in clothes of anyone I've ever met, and they are affordable. That girl will have her dream man wrapped around her finger in no time. With Naruto and Chiffon, what did Jiraiya-sama mean about his literary genius? Asked Chiffon in a curious tone. Is he a famous author or something? Naruto's sweat dropped. He's more like an infamous author. He writes a smutty series of books called Ika Ika and wants me to follow in his footsteps. Chiffon covered her huge smile with her hand. Your mentor writes porn novels? She asked. Seeing Naruto's depressed nod, she burst into laughter. That's hilarious. I can't wait to hear what adventures that must have led to. She guffawed. Apparently perverts don't bother her too much, thought Naruto, taken aback as Chiffon settled down into quiet giggles. Asterisk 2. The pair stopped at a stand that sold taiyaki and had a couple of the snacks each to tide them over while they went clothes shopping. Soon after they came up to a well-decorated shop with Riverbend's Ladies' Wear emblemized on it. The mannequins in the windows wore a wide variety of clothing from formal wear to intimate apparel that made Naruto blush. Stepping into the nicely decorated lobby, an attractive woman in her 40s zoomed up and said, "Welcome to Riverbends, where we have clothing for every occasion. I am Madame Mai, the proprietor of this fine establishment." She gawked for a second at Chiffon and, more importantly, her clothes. Oh my, such a lovely young woman in such dreadful apparel. What happened to you, my dear? My companion and I were attacked during our trip to Fang Country and my wardrobe was lost, explained Chiffon. Luckily Naruto-san has agreed to replace what he can, but we have a limited budget to work with. I'm Chiffon by the way. Madame Mai looked at the unsuspecting Naruto rather predatorily before she turned back to Chiffon. And this orange thing? She asked looking at Naruto's tracksuit on Chiffon. Ah, it was Naruto-san's spare ninja uniform. It's all he had and it's ruined too I'm afraid, said Chiffon. Madame Mai smiled. So she's running around in her boyfriend's clothes and he's a rather fetching young man despite his attire. Bringing Naruto into the conversation, Madame Mai said, so what kind of a budget are we looking at, Naruto-san? I want to be able to get Chiffon-chan looking the absolute best she can for her money. Wouldn't you agree? Naruto broke out a couple of singed scrolls marked, emergency only. Not for Jiraiya, and asked, do you take gold? Mai raised an eyebrow. Gold will spend anywhere in Fang country my dear, but I'll need to see the amount. The blonde ninja sighed and unsealed the scroll. We lost all of our belongings so there's a lot of stuff to buy. How much can she get for this? He asked holding out a medium-sized rectangular bag. Madame Mai sighed inaudibly as she took the bag from him thinking it wouldn't buy much a wardrobe. Then her eyes widened when she felt the sheer weight of it. Struggling to set it on the counter she saw 2 gold bars when she unfastened the straps on the bag. She saw they were minted in Kiri and were marked as 100% pure gold. Madame Mai gawked for a few moments before she closed the bag. She turned to Naruto with an enormous smile and said, one of these bars will buy Chiffon-chan everything she needs, Naruto-san. Madame Mai quickly turned the door sign to closed, and said, I will place one of these bars in a safe place. Please wait here. Naruto quickly bagged the remaining bar and sealed it up in his scroll. Well, she seemed excited, he commented. Chiffon's face was one of shock. Just how much money was that, Naruto-san? It was enough to buy some decent ninja gear, said Naruto. I don't know how much girls' clothes cost, so I hope it's enough. Chiffon's sweat dropped at the fact that Naruto was totally oblivious to the fact that Madame Mai had a look on her face as if she'd won the lottery. She also wondered how much emergency money Naruto had. A few moments later Madame Mai returned and said, Chiffon-chan, today Riverbends is exclusively yours and I will be most pleased to personally see you dressed absolutely beautifully. Naruto said, well, I don't want to interrupt so I'll let you pick out your clothes, Chiffon-san. I'll come back later. Oh no, exclaimed Madame Mai. A prince must be present for his princess to pick out and decide on her clothing so she can model it for him. A woman feels at her best being admired by the one she admires the most. And so began 4 hours of nosebleed, read, nose hemorrhage, hell for poor Naruto. He honestly thought Chiffon would look nice in anything really, but Madame Mai was determined to dress Chiffon like a goddess come to earth. When the subject of what kind of lingerie he liked came up, the poor boy just fainted dead away. Madame Mai just giggled at the comatose Naruto lying in a pool of blood on the floor. Is he that shy in bed, Chiffon-chan, or is it only in public? I've heard ninjas are animals in the sack. Chiffon said, honestly I don't know. Naruto-san and I aren't romantically involved. Madame Mai's eyes grew as big as saucers. What? You mean you two aren't lovers? He bought you a wardrobe and you two are just friends? She asked in shock. The Pandora nodded. We only met a week ago when he rescued me. I probably would have died if it weren't for him, she explained. Mai put her hands on Chiffon's cheeks and said, it seems to me this one is a keeper, my dear. Chiffon smiled and said, well, he is cute, I admit. Madame Mai wanted to bang her head on the wall at this girl's obliviousness to such a prize of a young man and then changed tactics. Well, say you do decide you like him eventually. Do you think he'd prefer leather or lace? Things went predictably downhill from there. Naruto's mindscape. After Naruto fell into a coma, the unconscious young ninja's mind ended up lying there with a massive nosebleed in front of Kurama's cage. Kurama shook his head. This is just sad. Struck down by a female. He's got a nosebleed inside his own subconscious. On the positive side, he's already intuitively learning to use Ashura's power and doesn't even realize it, and the power doesn't seem to be corrupting him in any way. Sigh, maybe I should give him a bit of a chance, though I'm loathing to do so. I guess I should wake him up and attempt to talk to him. Naruto was unconscious inside his own mind with a circle of little chiffons dancing delightfully around his head in various states of dress and undress. When the fox started talking to him he totally ignored in favor of the heavenly visions in his mind's eye. "Hey kid, hey, Naruto. Listen to me, there are matters to discuss, wake up moron," yelled Kurama. The blonde ninja muttered under his breath, "Don't bother me fox, I'm fantasizing here." Kurama had a massive sweat drop as Naruto vanished from his mindscape and back into the realm of consciousness. "Maybe I can get his attention later," grumped the ancient fox, "I just had to be trapped inside an idiot." Fang Country, Riverbend's ladies' wear. Naruto awoke feeling quite comfortable with his head resting in Chiffon's lap. She smiled down at him and said, "Good morning Naruto-san. You should have told me you were so tired. You fainted dead away." The blonde ninja blushed and then sat up abruptly. How long have I been out?" he stammered. Chiffon put her index finger to her lips in a cute thinking pose and said, "Well, I had time to shop for all my lingerie so I'd say it's been about an hour and a half." Naruto thought, "Oh thank the gods she's done with that part." He said sheepishly, "I hope I didn't cause you any trouble." The Pandora smiled with a gleam in her eyes and said, "Would you like to see what I picked out?" "You missed that part." Blushing atomic red, Naruto stuttered, "And no. That's quite all right. I'm sure everything you picked was just fine." "Are you absolutely sure?" Chiffon asked as she smiled at him nose to nose. She could feel the heat coming off of Naruto's face and stifled a giggle. "Positive," answered Naruto in a squeaky voice. "I don't need to see your unmentionables, let me just seal all your new clothes up in a scroll." "Why thank you Naruto-san, you are too kind," said Chiffon with a giggle. Naruto got up and got some fresh scrolls he had sealed in a slightly burnt scroll. "Where are they?" he asked. Chiffon pointed over to a colossal stack of bags full of clothing and said, "They are right there Naruto-san." The ninja's eyes grew to comical proportions at the massive wardrobe sitting there. After a second of gaping he almost fainted again before he regained control of himself and started making sealing scrolls with an ink brush. He totally messed up the one Chiffon wanted labeled, "Intimates," much to Chiffon's amusement. Once everything was sealed up in 4 scrolls Naruto noticed Chiffon was wearing a beautiful purple kimono with a contrasting orange-yellow obi with matching sunflower patterns and blushed again. She also had her bangs tied on the right side with a white ribbon. Madame Mai came out of the back with a full receipt showing that Chiffon still had credit in her account at Riverbend's given the value of the gold bar. Mai quickly thanked profusely them for their patronage and suggested they come back in 2 weeks because summer wear was coming out and she was sure that Chiffon would want several bathing suits. Naruto was feeling lightheaded at the idea of Chiffon in various bikinis when the young couple left. Naruto was blushing as he stole glances at Chiffon as they went to a store that sold combat gear. Since Chiffon's battle clothing and claw weapon on her right arm were all created through Volt textures she didn't need anything but Naruto did. Entering the Two Fangs weapon and armor shop Naruto cased the joint and its elderly proprietor. "Welcome to Two Fangs, the finest weapons shop in all of Fang Country. I'm Shinjiro Leaf Ninja-san. How may I help you today?" The old man had a gleam in his eye when the young and naive-looking Naruto came in looking around enthusiastically. "I'm going to make a killing off of this brat," thought the old shopkeeper. Chiffon didn't like this old man Shinjiro already, he just had a bad vibe to her. Her gut reaction was to ask Naruto if they shouldn't shop around a bit elsewhere before they bought here, but Naruto had already stepped up to Shinjiro's counter and asked, "How much for 25 shuriken?" 10,000 ryo, answered Shinjiro with a friendly smile. "May I see them?" asked Naruto eagerly as a kid at a candy store. Shinjiro chuckled, "Certainly Ninja-san." He pulled out a rather ornate set of shuriken and said, "These are some of the finest that money can buy my friend," and he handed one to Naruto. Naruto tested the weight and the balance before he crushed the shuriken in his bare hand much to Shinjiro and Chiffon's astonishment. These shitty things must be made of pot metal to be so brittle and are balanced about as well as boat anchors. Naruto said as he laid a massive killing intent on the old crook and said, "Show me some real weapons old man or I'll show you some." About an hour later Naruto came out of Two Fangs whistling a jaunty tune with several sealed scrolls in hand and left old Shinjiro weeping at lost profits. Being friends with a weapons nut like Tenten had its advantages when gauging a weapon's quality, and having always been poor, Naruto was a very conservative spender by nature. He knew squat about women's clothes prices, bet ninja equipment. He could haggle all day. And haggle he did. Chiffon was honestly shocked at how brutally Naruto argued every price down till it cut the crooked shopkeeper to the bone. Naruto not only got things that were 10 times as good as what old man Shinjiro was offering at first. He got everything at a quarter of the price the old man said initially. It was the most brutal bartering she'd ever seen. It's kind of cool seeing Naruto being so dominant, she thought absent-mindedly to herself. Realizing what she'd just thought to herself, Chiffon blushed slightly. The only ninja clothing that was high enough quality to suit Naruto's tastes was several indigo uniforms that were nearly black. They fit him snugly and showed off his body a lot more than his orange ones had. They also had a cowl and face mask that hid his features except for his brilliant blue eyes. Chiffon very much approved of his choice in clothing, even though Naruto still would have preferred orange. Chiffon smiled at her companion. Don't fret about the orange, Naruto-san. I think you look quite handsome in your new clothes. Besides, you can always wear orange off duty. Naruto blushed slightly. You really think so? He asked shyly. The Pandora nodded more eagerly than she intended. I really do think so. You look quite dashing, she said approvingly. We just need to get you some civilian clothes now. Yay, now I get to play dress up with Naruto, she thought eagerly. That's when Naruto's stomach roared and hers growled as well. Giggling slightly, Chiffon said, perhaps a good meal is in order first. I think our stomachs are trying to tell us something. The nurses told me several good places to eat. Let's do that and then find a place to stay for a few days. We can get you some clothes after that. The young pair was soon at a barbecue restaurant, and both were rather ravenous and ended up stuffing themselves on meat and rice. Chiffon said, gracious, I didn't mean to eat that much. I guess that snack we had earlier wasn't enough. Naruto was relaxing with some tea and said, don't worry about it. Look at it this way, this is the first real meal either of us has had in a week. He yawned. I'm nice and full and now I want to take a nap. Let's find an inn or something before we go shopping for my stuff. Better yet, let's just find a place to sleep. We can get some spare clothes for me tomorrow. Chiffon yawned herself. I think you are right, Naruto-san. As much as I'd like to go shopping, I'm worn out. Let's ask around about an inn to stay at. Naruto paid for their meal and the two asked a few people about the inns that were in the capital of Fang Country. There were a couple of resort ones, but Chiffon and Naruto didn't need anything extravagant. Eventually they went to the recommended Fuji Inn because it was nice and clean but moderately priced. The Fuji Inn. The Fuji Inn was a rather large one, but unfortunately they had few inexpensive rooms available. They had luxury ones, but that was a little outside the young couple's budget. All they had available were rooms with double beds instead of separate twin ones. Naruto was going to suggest they go somewhere else, but Chiffon was perfectly happy sharing a double bed. Don't worry, Naruto-san, it will be fine, she said pleasantly. After all, we've been traveling together, and I'd really like to have a bed. Is that okay, Naruto-san? Please, she asked with a cute pout. Naruto tried to ward off the attack, resist, adorableness, but ultimately lost the battle and agreed. Kurama groaned inside his container's mindscape. This is just pathetic. Just when I thought I couldn't lower my expectations anymore, he turned spineless as a jellyfish. Shaking his head, Kurama decided to go back to sleep. The ancient fox spirit couldn't stand to watch. Humans and their mating rituals, I swear. An hour later Naruto got out of the shower so Chiffon could take hers. He had clean boxers but no clean t-shirts, so he was sleeping shirtless. If he hadn't been sharing the room with a girl, it wouldn't have mattered. Naruto felt even more awkward sharing a bed. Chiffon came out of the shower wearing a button-up red sleep shirt and some matching red panties. Naruto blushed when she climbed into bed with him and yawned cutely. This bed is nice and soft, she said as she made herself comfortable. Reaching over and clicking off the lamp, she said, "Good night, Naruto-san, pleasant dreams," and soon was snoring quietly. Naruto lay awake for a while. He couldn't figure out why he felt so self-conscious sharing a bed with Chiffon when they'd spent the nights camping in the tent together for several days straight. Finally deciding that dwelling on the matter further would just keep him up all night, he finally forced his tense body to relax and drifted off to sleep, only to be awakened in the middle of the night by Chiffon clinging on to him in a death-grip bear hug. He groaned at how much physical strength she had as she squeezed the life out of him. She was crying in her sleep. "Tai Si, I'm so sorry, I left you all by yourself." Chiffon kept turning her head back and forth, locked in some kind of nightmare, and half of what she was rambling Naruto couldn't understand. Chiffon was rolling all over. She finally cried out, "I'm the only Pandora left. I'm all alone. Forgive me." Naruto gripped her so she'd stop thrashing and shook her awake, saying, "Chiffon. Chiffon-san, wake up. You are having a nightmare." Chiffon suddenly sprang awake, locked in an embrace with Naruto. Her slitted, golden eyes were full of fear. "Nightmare. I'm all alone," she whispered as tears poured down her face. Naruto couldn't tell if she was awake or asleep but said, "I'm here, Chiffon-san. I'll take care of you, I promise." "Naruto," said Chiffon with a hiccup. I'm so sorry. I see couldn't." Naruto rubbed her back gently. "I'm here, Chiffon. Just let it all out." Chiffon exploded into tears and cried her eyes out. She was babbling, but Naruto just held her and patted and rubbed her back to soothe her. Soon his chest was all wet, but he promised her that things would be all right and he was here for her. After what seemed like hours to Naruto, Chiffon's ridged body finally melted into a relaxed state and her crying led up into sniffles and the occasional hiccup. She finally said, I'm okay now, Naruto." He gently released her and she sat up on her knees. She was rubbing her eyes with the backs of her shirt sleeves and said, "I'm so sorry. I got your chest all wet with my crying." Naruto patted her knee comfortingly. "It's all right. You've been hiding all that pain. Don't worry. I'm here for you, Chiffon-san. I'll keep you safe." See how worn out she looked in the low light, he said, "You've tired yourself out pretty good. Do you think you can sleep now?" Chiffon nodded tiredly and rubbed her eyes again. "Can I sleep close to you? I always had a snuggle pillow," she explained. Seeing Naruto nod in the moonlight, she gently laid back down and snuggled into Naruto's side. Naruto gently placed his arms around her lithe frame and listened to her heartbeat and her breathing as she slipped into a comfortable, dreamless sleep. In spite of having Chiffon's warm body and amazing curves pressed up against him, Naruto couldn't help but pay attention to how delicate and fragile she felt lying in his arms. He was too worried about her well-being to be aroused. Finally feeling her slip into a deep sleep, Naruto dozed off himself. Naruto woke up in the morning to the feeling of Chiffon sitting up and stretching as she yawned cutely. Her sleep shirt had ridden up in the night and exposed her long legs and lacy red panties. As she stretched, her impressive breasts strained against shirt and proved beyond any doubt there was no bra underneath. If that wasn't enough, her bedhead hair and the sleepy, sexy look of her lidded eyes were nearly enough to send him back into a nosebleed coma. She rubbed the sleep out of her eyes and noticed Naruto was looking up at her. She yawned again and smiled softly down at him. "Good morning, Naruto-san. Thank you for taking care of me last night." Naruto blushed slightly. "It's all right, Chiffon-san. I'm just glad to see you smiling again." Chiffon flopped down on her side of the bed facing him on her side. She smiled happily and said, "I'm awake but I don't feel like getting up yet. Why don't you tell me a story?" "A story?" asked Naruto as he rolled up on his side to face her. Seeing her nod with her cheek resting on her pillow, he asked, "What kind of a story?" She giggled at the clueless look on his face. "Tell me about one of your adventures with your perverted master, like how you got those gold bars. I'm pretty sure most people don't haul those around with them," she added with a grin. Naruto's eyes looked a little panicked, but then he relaxed. "I sort of got the gold bars a while back as part of my 14th birthday. It's a secret though, so you can't repeat it even to Jiraiya." Now Chiffon was interested. Opening her gold eyes fully, she said, "Why keep it a secret from Jiraiya-sama?" The humor in her voice was obvious. Now it was Naruto's turn to smile as her held up his index finger. "You have to promise not to tell anyone first. It's a classified secret." Giggling, Chiffon said, "I, Chiffon Fairchild, do solemnly swear not to tell a soul about the secret events surrounding your 14th birthday." Glad that her sunny demeanor was back, Naruto said, "Well, I guess it started a little over a year and a half ago when Jiraiya and I were traveling through forest country." Flashback. Forest country. Naruto's birthday October 10th. Naruto and Jiraiya disembarked from a boat after traveling up the river from fire country to forest country. "Why are we here again, Ero Sennin?" asked a blond boy wearing an orange jumpsuit that was a bit too small on him. "Stop calling me that, Gaki," said Jiraiya. "We're here because it's your birthday. You hit a growth spurt, so we're going to get you a new uniform and make a real man out of you." "Really?" asked Naruto, surprised. "That's so cool, Ero Sennin." "Well, it is, as long as it's orange, of course. You have to address me properly if you want to get it," said Jiraiya imperiously. "I can't have you risking my reputation with the ladies." "What reputation? They all know you're a total pervert, Ero Sennin," ranted Naruto. "Naruto, I am a super pervert and a man among men, and the ladies know it," announced Jiraiya. "You will address me as Master Jiraiya and I will refer to you as prized student even if you aren't." The younger snarled, "Grr, you're nothing but a lecherous old coot. When are you going to seriously train me with some new jutsus?" "I'll train you when I deem you seriously ready," retorted Jiraiya. "Now do you want your gifts or not?" "All right, Master Jiraiya," groaned Naruto. The super pervert grinned triumphantly. Now that's the way an apprentice is supposed to talk. The odd pair journeyed onwards towards their destination, a trading station near Kaide village in forest country. The large trading post was about a kilometer outside of Kaide village, was a barracks, bounty station and weapons and armor shop all rolled into one little fort outside of town. Naruto had been to places like this before with Jiraiya. Sometimes Jiraiya would meet his informants there, but more often than not it was just to resupply. "Say Naruto, how much money do you have on you?" asked Jiraiya. Naruto groaned. Jiraiya's favorite way to keep Naruto from wasting money frivolously was to take Naruto's money and spend it frivolously himself. "I hardly have anything, Master Jiraiya. I spent it all paying for the boat ride here to forest country, remember? Anyway, given you're a famous author, shouldn't you be paying out of your deep pockets?" "You know I have to invest my money wisely, my dear apprentice," answered Jiraiya in a pontificating tone. Naruto thought mutinously, "Yeah, in bars and whorehouses." "Are you saying you can't afford my birthday gift, Master Jiraiya?" asked Naruto menacingly. "Tut, tut," scolded the toad Sannin. "You'll learn as you get older to always carry some emergency money. Since you've simply not had the experience, I'll let it slide, but consider this an important lesson from your master." Naruto's sweat dropped. Note to self: keep some emergency money and keep it well hidden from Jiraiya at all costs. "Okay, so do you have enough?" asked Naruto. "I think I have enough for this little excursion," said Jiraiya. Then he added brightly, "After all, it is your birthday." Naruto nearly face-faulted. He was going to make me pay for my own birthday present. As it turned out, things really weren't that bad. When they went to the store to buy weapons and gear, Jiraiya had already pre-ordered it all. Naruto was really happy with his new orange and black tracksuits, and Jiraiya even got him a brand new set of kunai and shuriken as well as some protective mesh to wear underneath his uniform. Naruto felt like a million Ryo in his new gear and was enjoying some ramen for lunch, which he rarely got because Jiraiya forced him to eat healthy, the damn fascist. At any rate, the young ninja had a great time and they went into Kaide village to stay at the inn there instead of camping out or staying in the cheap barracks at the trading post. That was a really nice change in and of itself. They arrived at the Kaide Inn after having a much more substantial dinner at a local restaurant. Naruto even had some sake for the first time because Jiraiya said he was old enough to drink responsibly now. It occurred to Naruto that he and Jiraiya had a lot of sake, all things considered. Jiraiya seemed to be in a very celebratory mood and toasted Naruto's coming of age one more time before they packed it up to go to the hotel for the night. Naruto noticed his master was rather buzzed, but Naruto didn't feel any different at all from consuming massive amounts of booze. Apparently having the fox stuck in his gut metabolized alcohol before it could even have any side effects on the orange-loving ninja. The Kaide Inn was a small place run by a very kindly old lady with the name of Oka, who welcomed them with a warm smile. "Jiraiya-sama, welcome back to the Kaide Inn. It's always a pleasure to have you." Jiraiya grinned happily and said, "It's good to be back, Oka-chan." Where are my manners? Oka-chan, this is my beloved apprentice Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto, this is the fine proprietor of the Kaide in Oka whom I'm sure you'll be visiting a lot in the future. The old lady smiled. Welcome Naruto-sama. Please just address me as Oka-chan like all of my patrons do. Thank you Oka-chan, answered the blonde trying to mind his manners and wondering why she used the sama honorific with him. She giggled and said, a shy one huh? The boy has a lot to learn but he's becoming a fine young man, said Jiraiya with a wink. So, what room will you be taking Jiraiya-sama? Asked Oka. As I recall you always preferred the red room. You remember me well, chuckled Jiraiya. I think my apprentice would do best in the blue room with a nice maid to take care of his first-time needs. Right you are Jiraiya-sama, said Oka with 2 claps of her hands. 2 young ladies in heavy makeup dressed like courtesans came out and bowed showing off a lot of cleavage which caused Jiraiya to blush and giggle perversely. Girls, please escort Jiraiya-sama to the red room with the twins and escort young Naruto-sama to the blue room. Have Natsuki-chan take care of all his needs. One girl immediately latched onto Naruto and said, this way Naruto-sama. Please call me Yuko-chan. It will be my pleasure to escort you to the blue room and serve you until Natsuki-chan arrives. See you in the morning, said Jiraiya jovially as he was escorted in the opposite direction. Naruto was feeling very uneasy and confused as Yuko pressed her body up against him and led him past several ordinary-looking rooms to an elevator. Yuko-san, what's in this blue room? He asked nervously. Yuko giggled. Please call me Yuko-chan Naruto-sama. The blue room is a luxury suite where you can take a jacuzzi bath and then get a relaxing massage as well as our other services we provide. She giggled again at his look of confusion. Don't worry or be nervous, Natsuko-chan will be taking very good care of you. Okay, said Naruto. Yuko soon showed Naruto into a large, luxurious room that was heavily perfumed and blue. I can see why they call it the blue room, he thought with a sweat drop. Yuko started asking him questions about his favorite wines. Naruto didn't have a clue, his favorite scents, apparently for scented oils for his bath, and a dozen other questions that Naruto's mind couldn't quite wrap around. She nodded eagerly at his clueless answers and told him to strip off and get comfortable for his bath with Natsuki-chan before she slipped out to get the appropriate wine, incense and whatnot. Admittedly Naruto wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer but the rusty gears in his head were slowly starting to turn. He looked at the oversized round bed and saw it had flower petals sprinkled across it. He wondered why the room was so heavily scented but started to have his suspicions because of the underlying scent of sweat under it. Am I in A? That's when his panicky thoughts were interrupted by a knock on the door. Yes, he answered with sweat on his brow and fear in his eyes. A soft feminine voice said, Natsuki-chan is here to serve you master, may I come in? Against his better judgment Naruto said, why yes, in a squeaky voice. In came Natsuki. She was pushing a cart with lots of wine and supplies that Naruto couldn't comprehend. The blonde ninja was reminded of Kurenai-sensei when he saw Natsuki, until he saw what she was wearing as she closed the door and locked it for privacy behind her. Natsuki was barely dressed in a French maid's outfit that was so tight and revealing that it left nothing to the imagination. She smiled demurely and bowed to show off her body. She twirled once to give Naruto a really good view of her assets before she said, such a handsome young master, Natsuki-chan will be so pleased to serve you. Let me help you get those clothes off so we can start your bath, she practically purred. The air raid sirens and fire alarms blared to life in Naruto's brain and he leapt to the vaulted ceiling and clung to it in terror with chakra. Th, this is a brothel, he squeaked out. Natsuki looked a bit surprised. Yes master, it is. Didn't you know? And no, I had no idea, stammered Naruto as he blushed madly. Natsuki giggled at him and said, don't worry master, Natsuki-chan knows it's you first time. You don't have to be nervous, I'm going to take good care of you all night long. Now why don't you come down and play with Natsuki-chan? I won't bite unless you want me to. Naruto let out a high-pitched shriek of terror and vanished before Natsuki's startled eyes only leaving a wisp of smoke behind. Flashback end, and that's when I finally mastered the body flicker technique, explained Naruto. I was so terrified when I appeared outside the Kaide Inn that I ran clean out of the village and decided to camp out in the forest that night once I calmed down. Chiffon was howling with laughter. Your master took you to a whorehouse for your 14th birthday and didn't even tell you. She guffawed. That's hilarious. Naruto nodded. I guess he was trying to get me drunk over dinner so I'd go with the flow, but alcohol doesn't seem to affect me much. Chiffon practically had her fist in her mouth to stifle her laughter. Finally getting herself under control, the Pandora asked, so what happened next? That still doesn't explain the gold bars. Well, that was later that night after I'd set up camp, said Naruto as he continued. Flashback. Forest country, Naruto's campsite. Naruto was sitting there having some cup ramen by the campfire to soothe his frazzled nerves. Oh my gods, I barely made it out alive. Naruto lamented to no one in particular. Truthfully, he wanted a shower to get the smell of the blue room off of him. I'll wait until morning and go back to the trading post, he thought aloud. That's when Naruto heard some rustling in the forest and his body became alert. A male voice chuckled and said, "It's dangerous to camp all alone at night in the forests in these parts. If you pay my men an IA protection fee, we'll keep you safe from bandits, traveler." A greasy bandit came into view with an evil smile on his face while brandishing a machete. What do you say, traveler? Naruto's eyebrow twitched irritably. He'd been so absorbed in his own thoughts that he hadn't noticed the 5 bandits surrounding him. Naruto growled, I have a better idea, slime ball. Since the only bandits around here are you and your 4 friends in the surrounding bushes, why don't you just walk away while you still can? I'm not in a good mood and want some peace and quiet. Do yourself a favor and leave. The blonde ninja heard laughter from the bushes around him and the visible man said, we were only going to take your money, kid, but now we're going to have to teach you some manners. Oh well, you only have yourself to blame. Since I'm such a nice guy though, I'll give you one last chance to hand over everything you own. Naruto's ice-cold eyes locked with the bandit's spokesperson and he said, no, you and your buddies are going hand over everything you own, or I'm going to kick your collective asses so hard that your ancestors will feel it. The lead bandit felt a sliver of fear as the entire area was smothered in Naruto's killing intent. Before he could say anything or make a move, Naruto said, on second thought, I really need to vent, so I'm going to kick your asses anyway. Shadow Clone Jutsu. The bandits found themselves surrounded by a mob of pissed-off blondes that all growled. This is gonna hurt. The 5 hapless bandits' screams carried throughout the forest as Naruto and his clones beat them like baby harp seals. The bandit leader was awakened by a slap in his swollen face as he moaned in pain. It was dawn and the last thing he remembered was a sea of orange. Before the pain came, he noticed it was really cold and that he was tied up. That's when the poor sap looked down and realized he was buck naked. Good morning, sunshine, said Naruto sarcastically. Since you wimps didn't even give me a good fight, I want you to tell me where your bandit camp is. It was obvious that Naruto was quite peeved. First Arrow Sennin tried to get him drunk and molested, and now these bums tried to rob him. They'd messed with the wrong ninja. Naruto smacked the others awake rudely and said, I'm going to have a nice breakfast by the warm fire while you guys starve and freeze your balls off. Finally one of the bandits squeaked, where are our clothes, you bastard? Exclamation mark quote, only to be silenced by a kunai that parted his hair. The man gulped and suddenly all the bandits noticed that Naruto had a shiny Konoha forehead protector on. A ninja, oh shit, they all thought. The lead bandit said, this has all been a big misunderstanding, Ninja-san. He smiled and laughed weakly. We're really sorry about this. Naruto quietly ignored the bandits in favor of his cup ramen. The bandits' stomachs started growling and the morning chill was making their naked butts a bit uncomfortable. Can we please have our clothes and stuff back? Naruto finished his breakfast and asked, you want your stuff back? Seeing them all nodding rapidly, Naruto said, tell me where your bandit headquarters is, how many bandits are there and what they have weapon-wise, and I'll give you back your underwear. The bandit leader squeaked, the boss will kill us if we do that. Not my problem, said Naruto. You guys are going to be out of work soon anyway. Tell me or I leave you tied up and exposed in the big, dark, dangerous forest. Nice breeze, huh? Naruto asked as they all shivered in the wind. Around lunchtime the 5 idiots were starving and the autumn breezes had picked up. Naruto finished eating in front of them and said, I reckon I'll stoke this fire up a bit as I pack up and leave you guys here. He went over and picked up their clothes and started tossing them in the fire where the fabric burned merrily in the crackling fire. "What are you doing?" screeched one of the bandits. "I'm feeding the fire," said Naruto nonchalantly. "But those are our clothes," shrieked another bandit as Naruto threw a shirt on the fire. Naruto shook his head. "No, they're my clothes now. If I want to use them as kindling I will." We'll talk," cried all 5 bandits at once. Naruto gave them a sunny smile. "I knew you guys were reasonable fellows deep down." The bandits quickly spilled their guts and Naruto threw their underwear back at them, and promptly burned the rest of their clothes. Over the next 3 days 37 streakers were caught in the forest after the local authorities were mysteriously informed of an unexplained nudist colony in the nearby area. Meanwhile Naruto was finishing up looting the bandits' main camp after beating the tar out of their leader when he found signs that something small was buried inside the leader's tent. Digging around with a kunai he found a wooden box of 10 bars of gold stolen from the Kiri Mint. He didn't know how the bandit leader ended up with it but decided this would be an ideal nest egg to start his emergency money stash. As for the crowd of beat-up nudists that were now residing in the forest country jails, they learned a valuable lesson that had been passed down through the elemental nations since time immemorial. Never piss off an Uzumaki. Flashback end. Chiffon was laughing hysterically as Naruto explained how he helped rehabilitate quite a few members of society in forest country from their wicked ways. "And so, that's how I got the gold. When it was all said and done I felt a lot better since helping those bandits out of their self-destructive lifestyles was pretty cathartic and Master Jiraiya never even had a clue about it." The Pandora giggled and said, "I believe it's safe to say you are one of a kind Uzumaki Naruto." They both laughed and decided they should start their day with a late breakfast. Fang Country, Daimyo's compound. Chiffon was in the Fang Country Daimyo's entertainment hall. She was dancing and really trying to appear happy about it. "Thank God I took ballet classes at West Genetics to improve my coordination and balance for combat," thought the Pandora. "At least Naruto-san seems to be enjoying the show." Flashback. After having a mid-morning meal Naruto and Chiffon went to the Fang Country Daimyo's very lavish compound. At first they were stopped cold at the entrance, but when Naruto revealed he was Jiraiya-sama's apprentice the Daimyo's chancellor eagerly showed them in to meet his grace. Naruto and Chiffon were shown in and soon bowed in deference to the daimyo. He was a middle-aged man with a square jaw and a black goatee. After introductions the daimyo warmly welcomed them. "Uzumaki Naruto-kun, I welcome you and Chiffon-chan to my compound. I understand you are here at the behest of Jiraiya-sama. I am a great admirer of his literary arts and I see he has sent one of his beautiful muses with you." He turned his attention to Chiffon. "Tell me Chiffon-chan, how long have you been a concubine in Jiraiya-sama's harem?" Naruto's eyes nearly bulged out of his head and his mouth went dry wondering where the hell that came from. What kind of delusions does this guy have about Ero Sennin? And just what has Jiraiya told him? The blonde ninja was about to say something to correct the daimyo because Chiffon's eyebrow was twitching again. The Pandora spoke up first though. "Forgive me daimyo-sama, but you are mistaken," she said respectfully. "I am not Jiraiya-sama's concubine." "Oh, my mistake," said the daimyo. Naruto sighed in relief that the tension in the air had passed. The daimyo smiled in delight. "Then Jiraiya-sama must have sent you as a gift to be my concubine. I can't tell you how pleased I am with his wonderful tastes. You are a true beauty Chiffon-chan." Now Naruto wanted to bolt. The twitch had returned tenfold and the ninja's thoughts were filled with the claw that Chiffon wielded, turning the Fang Country daimyo into chunky salsa. "Oh, my fucking god," he thought while sweating profusely. Naruto's eyes looked around rapidly for escape routes. He couldn't save the daimyo's presumptuous ass, but he could escape with Chiffon, and to hell with Jiraiya's medical bills. Chiffon smiled through gritted teeth. "Actually daimyo-sama, I am Naruto-kun's companion," she said as she made a show of gripping Naruto's arm possessively. The daimyo laughed and wiped a tear from his eye. "Ah, I see now. Naruto-kun, you're following in your master's exalted footsteps. I sometimes jump to conclusions. Forgive me Chiffon-chan. I didn't realize that you are Naruto-kun's concubine," he said chuckling good-naturedly. "Why yes," said Chiffon with false enthusiasm as her eyebrow twitched wildly. I am Naruto-kun's concubine, so I am afraid that I am not available. Isn't that right, Naruto-kun? She said eagerly. Naruto looked at her deranged smile and he nodded and smiled to the degree his face felt stretched. Ah ha ha, yes, Chiffon-chan is my faithful concubine. The daimyo clapped his hands together and said to a male servant. Kaiki, prepare a spot for my guests in the entertainment room. Tell me, Chiffon-chan, how do you entertain Naruto-kun? Do you sing, dance or play an instrument? I would love to see a display of your talents. Naruto's smile was an expression somewhere between sheer terror and a grimace. Chiffon's smile looked like sparks were about to ignite between her grinding teeth. I can dance if it would please you, daimyo-sama, but I come from far away where our dances are different, so you might not be familiar with the style I use. Wonderful, said the daimyo enthusiastically. Flashback end. So now Chiffon was doing ballet for the daimyo in his court. First they had the daimyo's own girls dance and play music, so Chiffon was able to formulate something between her ballet with a bit of interpretive dance thrown in. If someone had told me I was going to be dancing for a daimyo in a feudal country instead of fighting novas someday, I would have told them they were absolutely insane. Naruto-san looks happy, but I've been ignoring everyone else. The music finally was nearing the end as she dazzled them by executing a perfect pirouette. Then she stopped and bowed gracefully as the song ended. The daimyo and his people broke into wild applause immediately, and she returned to her place sitting beside Naruto. She giggled slightly at Naruto's dazed look and squeezed his hand to bring him back to reality. How did I do, Naruto-kun? She asked as she regained her breath. You were amazing, Chiffon-san, said Naruto with genuine awe in his voice. She whispered, you were the only one I was dancing for. Naruto smiled and blushed. Sadly, their moment was broken up by many dancers wanting to know what kind of dancing that was. Even the daimyo himself was very enthused, and they still hadn't gotten to the fact Jiraiya was laid up in the hospital. Later, the daimyo was visiting with Naruto in his private office and Chiffon was stuck talking to her new fans in the court. Naruto said, and that is the situation, daimyo-sama. Master Jiraiya is stuck in the hospital and his funds are currently tied up in Fire Country, so it will take some time to retrieve them. I'm wondering if some arrangements can be made with me as his proxy. I see, said the daimyo with great concern. I can't have my favorite author away from creating more of his divine works. Normally I wouldn't make such an offer, but since you are Jiraiya-sama's apprentice, I trust you are a ninja of some skill, yes. Naruto's sweat dropped and said, to an extent, I would need to clear things with the Master Jiraiya first, of course. Oh, of course, agreed the daimyo. I believe a few little under-the-table ninja missions would pay for Jiraiya-sama's medical bills, wouldn't you agree? Ba-chan is going to kill me for this, thought Naruto warily. I think we can negotiate something. Could I use your aviary? I believe the Hokage needs to be informed of where Master Jiraiya are currently, and I'd like to get some medical assistance from Konoha to speed his recovery. An excellent idea, Naruto-kun, said the daimyo. Please consider yourself and Chiffon-chan my guests here at the compound during your stay here in Fang Country, and feel free to use our aviary. We don't want you and your lovely companion's presence to be too public, yes. I agree entirely, daimyo-sama, answered Naruto. He wants to keep us in sight. Well, no harm there, since we really aren't up to anything other than what I've said. Nodding, the daimyo summoned some servants to prepare a room for Naruto and his concubine, as well as make arrangements for them to be guests for a few weeks. Naruto and Chiffon were shown to some very luxurious quarters, and Naruto sent a shadow clone to retrieve the belongings they had at the Fuji Inn. He also sent a letter out to the Hokage via bird. Fire Country, Konoha. It was bright and early the next day in the Hokage's office, and Tsunade was decoding a scroll that was in Jiraiya's personal code. It seemed he'd taught the same damn code to his brat of an apprentice. On the outside it said, to the honored 5th Hokage of Konoha, Senju Tsunade-sama. But on the inside it was different. Ba-chan, Ero Sennin got himself messed up pretty bad and is in the hospital here in Fang Country. I don't think their medics are going to be able to do the job, and I've included a copy of their medical assessment from them. Jiraiya claims he can't access his Fire Country bank accounts, so I need your permission to take some missions from the daimyo of Fang Country to pay his medical expenses. I can be contacted at the daimyo's compound, which is where I currently staying. I've also included Jiraiya's sealed report for you that I was to present to him if I had to come back alone in case something relevant is in there. Awaiting your instructions. Genin Uzumaki Naruto. Tsunade stared at the message with a mixture of irritation, relief and disgust. She was irritated that Naruto addressed her as Ba-chan even in a formal report, but relieved that he and Jiraiya were both okay because they had vanished off the map a couple of weeks ago and she received no reports. Lastly, Tsunade was disgusted that her idiot teammate Jiraiya had once again landed himself in a pickle and left it to Naruto to bail him out of the situation. Sighing, she looked over both Jiraiya's report that was mainly about Naruto and his skill levels as well as Jiraiya's medical report, which was a complete and utter mess. Tsunade quickly summoned Shizune and the dark-haired younger woman reported in. "What can I do for you, Tsunade-sama?" asked Shizune. "Gather up a roster of our available Chunin teams for a mission to Fang Country centered upon Chunin Haruno Sakura. It's a medical relief mission and I believe she's well up to the task. Team Kurenai is out on a mission and Team Guy just got back from a long-term one last night. Team Asuma is available. What rank is the mission?" asked Shizune. "Consider it B rank," said Tsunade. "It will be paid by Konoha as it is one of our own needing help. And I'll bill Jiraiya with interest later." Wahahaha, she thought. Seeing the insane gleam in her master's eye, Shizune wondered just what was going on inside Tsunade-sama's head. "Oh well, I'll hear the grisly details soon enough. I'll gather Team Asuma and Sakura-chan then." Tsunade nodded and penned a coded message back to her favorite genin. "Naruto, I'm sending a Chunin team to help out with my perverted teammate. They should arrive in the next 2 or 3 days. I'm taking a risk here, but as long as you don't destabilize the region politically, I'm giving you permission to take whatever jobs you think you can handle from the Fang Country daimyo. This is a big responsibility, Naruto, and if you plan to be future Hokage, then you'd better prove that you have sound judgment with this. I have faith in you and I want you to succeed, Naruto, so be safe. The 5th Hokage of Konoha, Senju Tsunade. P.S. Don't call me Ba-chan, especially in a formal report, you obnoxious brat." She quickly dispatched the scroll to the Konoha aviary. Fang Country, daimyo's compound. Naruto woke up around 9 in the morning in the luxurious room the Fang Country daimyo had provided for them. Despite the fact the bed was huge, Chiffon was once again using Naruto as her snuggle pillow. It seemed his presence kept her nightmares from bothering her. They had stayed up late the night before as Naruto listened to her describing her life as a Pandora at West Genetics and how they worked with limiters to fight novas. The idea of fighting giant, other-dimensional aliens was quite fantastical to Naruto, but given what he'd seen in that lab he rescued Chiffon from, things didn't seem all that far-fetched. Chiffon also talked about her best friend Taisei Phenol and how she hoped that somehow Taisei survived the war with the novas. It was cathartic for Chiffon to talk about her past and share it with another person. Surprisingly, the blonde ninja was a very good listener when he needed to be. He remembered a condition that Kakashi had called survivor's guilt, and he didn't want Chiffon to fall into the same depression as his old sensei had. At any rate, all the talking about everything and laughing together was nice for both of them. Naruto told her about growing up in Konoha and the Ninja Academy as well as some of his more infamous pranks. He was even pondering about telling Chiffon about Kyuubi as well. Naruto usually was much more guarded about the subject, but something told him he could trust Chiffon with that secret. Maybe it would at least distract her from her bad dreams. Still, Naruto had been having some crazy dreams of his own. Naruto had seen a ninja with some incredible powers in his dreams. The guy had brown hair and wielded both a monk's staff and a sword. The man's dream was to bring peace to the world by bringing people together. Sadly, the guy's worst enemy was his own older brother, who was a total jerk and had some kind of crazy dujutsu. Naruto really didn't understand why the two were fighting to begin with, but somehow the older brother reminded him of Sasuke with his superiority complex of an attitude. The blonde ninja really didn't understand why he was having these vivid dreams, but something deep inside told him it was important. He wanted to know more about the brown-haired guy and his dreams of peace in the world. Strangely enough, Naruto actually felt the staff wielder's powers and how he used them. It was almost as if he had those crazy powers in himself and he was learning how to use them in his dreams. I just wish I knew the guy's name, thought Naruto. Feeling the call of nature, he decided to get up and gently shook Chiffon awake. Chiffon yawned and stretched like a cat before she opened her golden slit eyes widely and smiled brightly at Naruto. Good morning, Naruto. Kun. I guess since I'm basically your wife now, we should make sure to address each other informally, she said with a tiny blush on her cheeks. She looked into Naruto's blue eyes and said, what are you thinking about, Naruto-kun? Naruto looked back into her eyes and thought, blushing, I was thinking how beautiful you are, Chiffon-chan. But he answered, I was just thinking about what we'd do today. Hopefully we'll hear from the Hokage soon. As much as I like relaxing, I can't sit still too long. Just don't crank, Daimyo-sama. I don't think that would go over well, teased Chiffon. I outgrew that, defended Naruto. Seeing Chiffon raise a questioning eyebrow, he said, well, mostly anyway. Chiffon just giggled. Knowing he'd already lost this battle, Naruto got up and quickly did his morning rituals. Looking around in the big bathroom, he saw a hot tub that would easily fit both him and Chiffon quite comfortably. Blushing and shaking his head at his perverse thoughts, he quickly brushed his teeth and turned the bathroom over to Chiffon. While she took over the bathroom, Naruto was getting dressed when he heard a knock at the door. When Naruto answered it, he was greeted by a young man that asked, are you Uzumaki, Naruto-sama? Naruto's brain froze for a moment, but he said, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, but I'm not a lord or anything. The young man said, you are a guest of Daimyo-sama's and must be given the proper respect, Uzumaki-sama. I have a message from the aviary. A messenger bird from Konoha has arrived and they'd like you to come up to receive it. Nodding, Naruto said, give me a moment to get dressed and I'll be right out. The young man nodded and Naruto closed the door. Quickly getting dressed, he made a shadow clone to inform Chiffon he was going to the aviary and would be back in a few minutes. Stepping out into the hall, Naruto followed the messenger up to the aviary to retrieve his message. Ba-chan must have sent it out at the crack of dawn for the message to have gotten here so fast. Chiffon poked her head out of the bathroom 10 minutes later and said, Naruto-kun. Naruto's shadow clone said, boss had to go to the aviary for a message, Chiffon-chan. Chiffon noticeably pouted. What's wrong, Chiffon-chan? Asked the clone. I need some fresh clothes out of a scroll, but I can't use chakra, explained Chiffon. The clone said, no problem. I can get that for you. What do you need? Chiffon's eyes sparked with mischief. I need some fresh panties and a bra. Either the satin teal ones or the lacy fuchsia ones, she said, smiling innocently. The clone looked like a deer caught in the headlights when he unsealed the Intimates scroll and said, which ones do you want, Chiffon-chan? Pull them out and set them on the bed so I can look at them, Naruto-kun, said the Pandora sweetly. The trembling clone put said articles of clothing on the bed carefully as if they were made of glass and nervously said, there you go. Chiffon made a visible show of trying to make her mind up. Teal or fuchsia, lace or satin ones? Which would feel better against my naked skin? The clone was visibly gawking by now. I just can't decide, Naruto-kun. Use your imagination. Which do you think would look better on me? The poor clone was blown back by a nosebleed and dispelled when it hit the floor from the fatal shot. Chiffon was laughing hysterically as she grabbed some yellow underwear from the open scroll and went to get dressed. Up in the aviary, Naruto broke into an enormous blush when his clone's memories came rushing into his head with the force of a sledgehammer. That woman is going to be the death of me, he thought, embarrassed as he assured everyone he was okay and faked a cough saying he just needed a glass of water to drink. 30 minutes later, Chiffon was fully dressed and had gotten her fit of giggles under control. Naruto quietly knocked before he entered and found Chiffon waiting for him, smiling pleasantly. I couldn't decide between the two, so I chose the yellow ones with ruffles instead, Naruto-kun. Seeing Naruto blushing up a storm, she started giggling again and said, you're so cute when you blush, Naruto-kun. Naruto managed a weak glare, but it just made Chiffon laugh more. Finally giving up, Naruto said, well, if you're done teasing me, I'll just open up this message scroll and see what Ba-chan has to say. That's fine, Naruto-kun, said Chiffon energetically. Let's see if we're going to be going on any missions. After that you can seal up my scroll of intimate apparel. Naruto just groaned in utter defeat. Chiffon-chan is a pervert and she's trying to make me into one too. He lamented inside his mind. Chiffon just smiled. Fire Country, Konoha. It was early afternoon and Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, Akamichi Choji and Haruno Sakura were all standing at attention in front of Tsunade. The fifth Hokage said, "Your mission is to head to Fang Country and help treat Jiraiya's injuries. Ino, I'll expect you to assist Sakura with this task. You are to report first to the daimyo's compound there and link up with Uzumaki Naruto, who will have further information on the situation." "Naruto is there?" asked Sakura. "It's been almost 3 years." She grinned and wondered about her teammate. "I wonder if he's still a shrimp," Ino thought aloud. Shikamaru sighed. "Well, things just got even more troublesome than I predicted." Choji smiled and patted Shikamaru on the shoulder. "Naruto owes me a rematch from our last eating contest. It will be great to see him again." The Hokage interrupted their musings and said, "Nara Shikamaru, you are in overall command of the mission, but the medical matters are Sakura's area. When you link up with Naruto, he may have some missions from the Fang Country daimyo to pay off Jiraiya's debts, so you are to coordinate with him." "Jiraiya-sama's debts?" asked Shikamaru. Tsunade snorted. "Jiraiya has racked up a great deal of medical expenses, and once again it has fallen on Naruto's shoulders to bail Jiraiya out of a sticky situation, which is where the missions from the Fang Country daimyo come in. How my blockheaded, perverted teammate managed to train the fourth Hokage so successfully is beyond me. You have your orders. Pack for a month-long mission just in case. You are to leave as soon as you are ready." Being dismissed, the four Chunin went down to the base of the Hokage Tower and had an impromptu team meeting. Sakura was already looking over Jiraiya's medical reports. "Well, there is nothing life-threatening going on, but Jiraiya-sama is in bad shape. We should move out this afternoon or first thing in the morning at the latest. I'm more worried about Naruto doing something crazy before we get there," said Shikamaru. "With the way he operates, the knucklehead could spark off a war with a simple mission. I say we move out this afternoon before Fang Country is laid to waste." Fang Country, daimyo's compound. Naruto was in the daimyo's office discussing a possible mission. "Ahahaha. No, just no, daimyo-sama. I'm not going to assassinate the daimyo of Claw Country even if he is an unreasonable jerk. Konoha is on good terms with both Fang and Claw countries, and it would be bad to destabilize the region. I understand you have border tensions, but I'm not about to start a war because of the political differences your two countries have." Seeing his bright idea to get rid of a political rival had foundered, the daimyo said, "I'll have to respect your position as a representative of Konoha. Let's find some more suitable missions and just forget about that first one, okay?" "Certainly," said Naruto with a beaming smile that would have made Metagai proud. "Phew, I dodged a landmine there. What the hell is this man thinking? I'll have to report this to Ba-chan. So what else did you have in mind, daimyo-sama?" The daimyo went through his papers nervously, trying to cover his little faux pas. "There have been some bandits led by a missing nin in the southern rivers of Fang Country we need to get rid of. Could you take care of that for me?" Naruto got serious and asked, "Do you have any specifics?" "It would be a B rank mission minimum, but it depends on the level of the missing nin as to the actual level. The ninja in question is Mizuaki, who we know little about. She has 20 or so bandits helping her and has been terrorizing the south for months. We can't seem to catch her in the forests," explained the daimyo. Naruto got out his bingo book. Mizuaki. B-rank missing nin who was a former member of the Nokizuru group that specialize in assassinating other ninjas. She had a falling out with them and lost her title of hiding in water member. Guess it makes sense she'd hide here where there's lots of rivers. Naruto looked over the specifics and it showed she specialized in demolitions and was often hired by terrorist groups. Oddly, her main weapon was a crossbow. She had a pretty face with white hair and pupilless light blue eyes. Rumor had it she could always be two places at once, indicating she at least knew the water clone technique. The bounty on her wasn't that huge since she wasn't affiliated with a major village. "This is an A-rank mission," said Naruto as he closed his bingo book. "If you agree to deduct the Konoha standard a rank mission pay from Master Jiraiya's medical expenses once it's carried out, I'll agree to it." Naruto's tone told the daimyo that the ninja wouldn't budge on the amount. "Done," said the daimyo. "I'll have my intelligence people turn over what little we know on her to you this evening after dinner." "Thank you, daimyo-sama," said Naruto, bowing. I'll get a plan together. I'll need maps of the southern regions and rivers as well. The daimyo summoned a servant and said, "Get Naruto-kun whatever information he needs for his mission." With that, Naruto and the servant bowed again and departed for the library. Over the next couple of days Naruto discovered just how bad the maps were of the southern region of Fang country. There were 3 major river routes and he was looking over an atlas. He had an overlay of areas where Mizuaki and her group had struck over time. The next day he went out to the shipping companies that had suffered losses and found they had much better maps that charted the rivers in great detail. His eyes kept going to a particular peninsula between the 2 largest rivers. "This is where I'll start hunting Chiffon-chan," he said as he pointed to the peninsula. "It's an ideal place to hide a base and none of the hits have been close to it. It's centralized and the 2 main river routes combine right by it." "Don't you mean this is where we'll start hunting Naruto-kun?" asked Chiffon. The 2 had bickered about it and Naruto didn't want to endanger her, but having seen what she could do he had no delusions that she couldn't defend herself. With her Volt weapon she could easily reduce a tree to splinters. The blonde ninja sighed. "I guess since you'll follow me even if I say no, so we'd better plan to go as a team." "What do you think?" he asked as he pointed to the peninsula. "I think that what you've figured out is devious and clever," said Chiffon. "In conventional warfare such tactics would never be used, but for some sort of terrorist it makes sense." "That's how we ninjas think, Chiffon-chan," said Naruto. "To fight a ninja you have to think outside of the box. I learned that the hard way." "What about that point?" asked Chiffon, pointing towards some high ground on an island. "That looks like an ideal lookout point for any of the 3 rivers." Naruto nodded. "I thought so too. We'll be going there first. Unless I miss my guess we'll find a small lookout post there, and maybe a couple of bandits we can interrogate. It would also be in direct line of sight with a base on the peninsula for mirror signals." Between Naruto's training as a ninja in tactics from Jiraiya and Chiffon's training as a field commander as a high-ranking Pandora, the 2 complemented each other very well. "We'll set out first thing in the morning," said Naruto as he sealed up the maps for the night. Morning. Fang Country Main Road. Shikamaru and his team arrived with little trouble at the main gates into Fang Country. The Nara heir said in a bored tone as he presented his paperwork, "Konoha Chunin Nara Shikamaru and my team arriving from Fire Country. We are here to render medical assistance to Jiraiya-sama once we report into the Fang Country daimyo." The head guard stepped forward. "Your group is expected, Nara-san. I'll need to inspect each of your papers before I can allow you to enter Fang Country first, however." The Nara yawned and handed over his ID. "Knock yourself out, guard-san." Then he went and sat on a bench to doze. Everyone else present just sweat dropped at Shikamaru's antics. Within the hour the 4 Konoha Chunins were through the gates and formally welcomed into Fang Country. After reaching town they had a filling meal because they were all hungry. Choji was bordering on starvation, and checked out the hospital since it was along the way. Entering the hospital they were greeted by the same not-so-friendly nurse at the desk that Naruto and Chiffon met when they first arrived. After they explained they were there to see Jiraiya, her answer was predictably surly. "That pervert. Why would you want to see him? Especially you young girls." Sakura explained, "I'm a medic nin from Konoha that was dispatched here to speed Jiraiya-sama's healing by the Hokage herself. The daimyo-sama of Fang Country is aware of our mission. Now if you won't be going near that pervert without written permission from the office of the daimyo himself," snarled the nurse. "I know how you ninjas operate. You're planning to escape with that lecher so he won't have to pay his medical bills. Out with you. Out I say." The 4 Chunin-level ninjas were standing outside looking a bit shocked. Even Shikamaru was wide-eyed. "What just happened here?" asked the Nara genius. "I'm guessing they really had a bad experience with ninjas skipping out without paying in the past," asked Choji. "That or they really had a bad experience with Jiraiya-sama," said Sakura in a flat tone. "Ya think?" exclaimed Ino. "That old bat was rabid crazy. I think she needs her shots. I've met dogs at the Inuzuka kennels with much better attitudes." Shikamaru's sweat dropped at Ino's assessment but couldn't find an argument against it that wasn't troublesome. "Well, as much a drag as it is, I think the best choice would be to go on to the daimyo's compound as originally planned. It isn't like Jiraiya-sama is going anywhere. They may have him tied up for all we know." Sakura nodded. Well, the sooner we see the daimyo and link up with Naruto, the sooner we can resolve this whole situation. Right, let's set out, said Ino. Hurry up Shikamaru, we're burning daylight. Damn troublesome, bossy woman, muttered Shikamaru under his breath as he fell into step with Choji behind the two kunoichis. After the Chunin team was once again checked over by the daimyo's guards, they reached the daimyo's compound by noon. They were soon welcomed into the compound by the chancellor. Welcome, you are expected Konoha ninjas. I'm afraid Daimyo-sama is taking his lunch right now, so it will be a bit until you can see him. Shikamaru nodded respectfully. Is Genin Uzumaki Naruto available then? We have much we need to discuss with him. I'm sorry but Naruto-sama isn't available either, said the chancellor cordially. He and his concubine Chiffon-san departed early this morning. Sakura's enraged voice echoed throughout Fang country. Naruto has a concubine. I'll kill that pervert.